Mwah. Hi, Leather Rokk here. Welcome to my channel. And that was Tabby Boy. Tonight's Freedom Stream, as you could tell if you read the title, is going to be about safety in the sun and going to be some body piercing talk. And of course, the first thing I got to do is sterilize my hands since I got Tabby Boy on them. And as you can tell, I took my nose ring out. I was going to change it before I went live today, but I decided that I'd do that on camera because I wanted to talk something about body piercing jewelry, and I wanted to cover some details that I hadn't covered previously. Right now, I'm going to get closer to the back of the wall here so that I can take advantage of the better lighting. Emmanuel, hey, I missed you last time. How are you doing? It is so hot today. I think it must have been 80 degrees or something. And I really tried to get on the show earlier today. I had spaghetti and clams for dinner. My mother made me spaghetti and clams, the same basic recipe that I make. And I ate nice and early today so that my stomach wouldn't feel like I was expecting twins. I don't know what it is with me. I guess it's with this way with a lot of people, that you eat a meal and you know you really feel big and bloated and all that stuff. Set the stupid things in place. All right, I'm going to put this here. Whoops, wait a minute. Balancing act here. This darn computer. You know, I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth, but this computer is been giving me fits today, and I can't check my Hotmail because this computer was actually built for my brother, and the computer doesn't think it's mine. You had a bad experience at the wine store? What happened? They were closed? Sorry, that's terrible. Gosh. Anybody want to go swimming? I don't even know if the temperature in the water is warm enough for swimming, to tell you the truth. And I still have a lot of teasing and tangling and stuff in my hair. So I couldn't go out in it anyway. And besides that, I am so sensitive to the sun that the kind of skincare and stuff that I put on, I can't get in anyway. But I want to change my nose ring. So let's see what we're going to do here. All right. This is going to be the nose ring that I'm going to put in. And I want you guys to get a close-up of it. As you can see, this is rainbow anodized titanium. And it's supposed to have 2 silver balls in it, but I'm actually going to put a purple one and a red one in it. But in order to get the red one, I'm going to have to take the red ball out of my belly ring. And I don't think you guys want me to talk about it. I think you guys want me to show you. And I also had to ditch my rings for my bars because I'm getting a mammogram next week. And it's really hard to get an x-ray and show everything if you've got metal in you, because the metal keeps the x-rays from going through. You were returning wine your dad bought. You know, oh man, that's one of the things I hate about going to retail establishments, when you're dealing with people that are cashiers that can't count or that don't know their merchandise. Now, I don't really go in liquor stores because I don't drink, even though sometimes you'll go into liquor stores for rolling papers or soda or something. But it really annoys me no end when employees overcharge you, or they're not knowledgeable, or they would rather talk on their cell phones and wait on customers. Yeah. But now, in order for me to find the red ball, I have to take it out of here. So that's what I'm about to do. And as you can see, this ball is in fact red, but I am going to first put the silver ball back in here so that I don't lose my belly ring. And got all that here. And boy, an extra hand would really come in handy right about now. So I'm going to put the silver ball back in this. Yep, it's now the witching hour. And you see my belly ring, this, and yes, this is a rainbow on here. It's got the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, and the purple stones. And here is my, this thing here. I am going to actually take the other steel ball out of it, and I am going to stick a red one on one side and a purple one on the other. But first I am going to put the purple ball in. And this, by the way, these balls here are made of either bioplast or some other kind of plastic thing. And the great thing about bioplast is you can actually autoclave sterilize it. And you can't generally do that with any other kind of plastics. But bioplast, you know, I could. We have so many stores that sell saltwater taffy here. Frailinger's is a big company, and James is the other. And I've had saltwater taffy all my cognizant life. I discovered something. Canned clams can actually be put in a grinder to make them easier to chew. I'm going to stick my, I guess, okay. That made me, whoops, I'm glad I didn't drop that on the floor. Okay, I'm just going to, shivers? Where are they from? Are they from here? Are they from northern New Jersey or what? There's probably a lot of other candy companies around here. My favorite candy is always chocolate. So there's, as far as pastry shops go, there's a bakery called Minnows that makes the best sticky buns. And I think they have 3 locations. My father used to get us sticky buns when he would go to VFW meetings. I think there's also a Minnows in Brigantine, but I could be wrong. But there's a Minnows bakery in Pleasantville. And I like their small sticky buns better than their big sticky buns because they have the nuts in them as well as the raisins. I have too much of a sweet tooth for my own good. And since the pandemic, I haven't been getting as much exercise as I would like to, so I've reduced my caloric intake. But I don't say no to chocolate. Come on, screw on already. You could tell this is live because irritates the holy fuck out of me. I don't want to give up on it just to be able to get the show on the road, but this really does annoy me because there's sometimes I can do this and it screws on right away. And then sometimes, of course, I get snotty and it just slips out of my hands. So there's some other news that I wanted to report. I really don't want to talk too much about this town. I wanted to change my focus of this channel to some other interests that would stand the test of time beyond the time I expect to spend in the city. But I do want to mention some things that I observed when I go out. Like, I should have written down the day that this happened, but I don't go out all that much. But one day I did go out to, what the hell was it? I think I went to get my mother one of those TV magazines, because it has like the word finders and the crossword puzzles and stuff she likes. And I wanted to hurry, come back before the rain started, because we were expecting thunderstorms, and I'm afraid of lightning. So as I was passing Boardwalk Hall, I saw that they had this Muslim demonstration against the state of Israel. And that made me quite angry. And as luck would have it, I was wearing my MAGA hat. And I was really glad that I was, because I saw this Palestinian flag and all these people wearing headscarves and everything. And they were shouting different things against Israel and stuff. And there was police there to keep the peace. I sure as hell didn't stick around, because I didn't want problems, even though it would have been curious to see how it played out. But since look like we're headed out of the COVID area, the city put the benches back, so there was plenty of places for people to sit. And boy, it seemed like half the Islamic immigrants were there in the audience. And I yelled one time words to the effect that Israel has every right to defend itself. But I didn't yell it as loud as I could have, because I sure didn't want an ass whooping. How hard can it be to fucking screw on a ball? Oh, God. All right. You know what? How's about we say that I did it and I didn't do it yet? So I'm going to just set this back here. So, yeah, they're having their little protest, and I just wanted to get them and be safe. Where the hell am I going to put this? I think I'll set this down here so that I can close this, and there. Man, yeah, that does make me mad that I'm having a hard time getting this in. So meanwhile, in the neighborhood today, they had some kind of shindig for some mucky mucks in the Republican Party, but I guess my invitation got lost in the mail. So, and they actually covered up my garden area. They covered the fence with this much higher fence and some opaque black tarp material, and put a couple of porta potties in there. And but the only thing is that we were expecting to hear some kind of nice entertainment, at least from it. For some reason, all I heard was gangster rap, and I cannot imagine that that would be the sort of music, if you want to call it that they would have there. And yet, it wasn't the kind of music that when cars are just driving and then they go away. It was a steady volume, which suggests, in fact, it very well may have been coming from there, but I hope not. I cannot imagine that they would play that kind of music for that crowd. It just makes no sense at all. I was hoping for some Frank Sinatra or some Grateful Dead music or something civilized. And at the risk of offending people, and frankly, if I do offend people, I don't care. I just don't think of gangster rap music as being civilized. Things that promote violence, misogyny, glorify the drug trade. I don't find a whole lot of redeeming value in that, unless by drug trade they mean pot, in which case bring it on and give me some. But I hope my audio is okay. I have my fan on, but it's blowing in the direction of my bed. And actually, I was going to move it to here, but sometimes it moves my hair and makes a mess. Oh, this is so annoying. This computer, it there, I have it on the volume on 100, and it is so quiet. I don't know what it is with the volume on laptops, or it's just that I'm cursed to have very low volume. And if anybody's blasting any music outside, it drowns it out. And if anybody I live with has got their radio or something playing loud, then it drowns out my computer. And a couple hours ago, I was watching one of my favorite YouTube channels, which happens to be Right Side Broadcasting Network, RSBN. And whenever President Trump is doing an appearance, they cover it. But then because Trump often talks about subjects that YouTube forbids to be said, pretty much as soon as the broadcast is over, YouTube takes it down. And as a matter of fact, another thing, Facebook often takes down the videos of Trump that I post. It's all that Silicon Valley right wing, anti right wing bias. It's nothing new, unfortunately. And another thing that YouTube does that gets on my last nerves is whenever I have streams or videos devoted to cannabis, they demonetize it before I even have the 1,000 subs that would make me eligible for AdSense. So, and never mind the fact that state by state, we are becoming more and more a country that has legalized, of course, not yet on the federal level, but still. I mean, YouTube knows that my videos are not for children. Though, ironically, one of my pot videos, they think is for children. Now, why the hell would anybody put a cannabis video intended for kids? And the thing is, one of the things that YouTube does is any videos that YouTube thinks are child friendly, what they do is they make it so that there can never be ads on it, and you can't even have comments on it. In order to conform to the COPPA laws, COPPA, that stands for Child Online Protection and whatever the rest of it is. And of course, I believe that you should protect children. Who wouldn't? Only a weirdo or decrepit individual would be against protecting our young. But there is something wrong with the YouTube AI, apparently, if it thinks that a video about weed would be a kiddie video. That's just crazy talk. But okay, I don't know why this isn't happening. So it's not happening. God, I am so hot. I am so hot. So, uh, isn't this neat? It is real. And I do fully intend to bring it to California when I can make my way out there. Oh. So one of my friends who where is my N95 mask? Guess what? I knew that you would ask. This is the Aura. These are KN95s, and in my hallway I have some N95s. Now, any of you guys have seen The Outer Limits, and also, what's the other one? Twilight Zone. This episode where everybody has pig faces, except for certain people that they want to do surgery and all these treatments to get them to look all like them. And then at the very end, you see that the people who are considered to be deformed are the ones who have what we consider to be stereotypical human features. As a matter of fact, the female protagonist looked like Marilyn Monroe, and the other so-called undesirable person looked like a very clean-cut beach blanket bingo kind of person. Now, I'm not going to go put this over my hair because it's just going to get tangled up in my earrings, and it's going to possibly pull them out. And I've already abraded my earrings, my earlobe area, I think from having one of my acid facials on too long. But anyway, that's what this would look like. But it's going to smear my makeup, and I don't choose to do it. So, you know, I think I have a right to not smear my makeup. That's too unreasonable. But yes, I have them here. Even though I'm fully vaccinated and I got my second vaccine, I should be about at the 2-week mark. And they say that if you allow 2 weeks after your final vaccination, you are considered. Yes, I got my vaccine. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look at my trusty calendar here. Okay, because I got my first shot the day before my last computer fried, and that's of course why I had to be offline. Now, when I don't have a computer, obviously I can't film, and both computers being gone meant I couldn't work either. And I guess I have to give you the Cliff Notes version of things. With no computers and no means to work, and I made up my mind that I was not going to get another computer until I worked and was able to buy one. And I was not going to borrow money from my school bus fund just to get another computer. I cannot rob Peter to pay Paul, as the saying goes. And I've been looking for cash work since I can't cash any check. And maybe I didn't look in the right places. I'm limited by my skill set. I could not find, I mean, the talk radio and maybe TV news would have you thinking that people are desperate for work. I mean, people are desperate for work, I suppose, or they're trying to say that companies are desperate to hire. And I don't know. I mean, maybe that's true. I didn't see many help wanted signs, except for things that I'm not qualified for. Some of the casinos have open houses. There's restaurant work if you want to do that. But again, nothing with my skill set. But okay, I got my first vaccine 21st May, and this is the Pfizer. And I got the second one. Why the hell did I write it on here? Oh, wait a minute. I beg your pardon. I got my first vaccine. I was looking at the wrong calendar. Hold on a second. Did you hear it? Amir, did you hear what I told you? If I put on that kind of mask, it goes over my head. It's going to get tangled in my earrings. It will pull them out and it will hurt me. It will get caught in my hair. It will rip my hair out. I don't want my hair ripped out. I don't want my earrings ripped. If my earrings ripped out, I will get an ear infection. I really don't want that. I mean, this is my channel, and I think I have a right to do what I please on my channel. I don't want my hair ripped out. This is not a wig. This is real hair. I don't want an ear infection. I have many issues that I have to deal with doctors right now. I don't want something else like that. Okay, I got my first vaccine on the 24th of April. I got my second shot on the 21st of May. So now it's 2 weeks after that. 1 week was the 28th of May. The second week was the 4th of May. So, and today's the 5th. So I guess I can be considered fully vaccinated. Okay, I guess I should say a few things about Joe Biden, and I can say a few nice things about him, actually, and I hope my Republican friends don't take away my GOP card for this, but I really liked this public service announcement that President Biden said about, encourage people to get the vaccines. When he does things like that, I really do like that. I like his tone of voice. I like that he sounds fatherly and he sounds concerned. And as opposed to Kamala Harris, that just drives me up the wall. I just, you know, but when I was listening to President Trump's speech on RSB, and then all of a sudden I tried to make it full screen. This computer, the screen started freezing, and I thought that my Wi-Fi was doing the Watusi or something, and it wasn't the Wi-Fi, it was the computer itself. And you know, I don't want to sound ungrateful since I have this computer, which, if you don't know already how I got it, my brother, I needed to help him out of a jam, or rather, I didn't need to. I had a chance to. Between my mother and myself, we spotted him some cash because he was waiting for his tax refund. His tax refund was late. Meanwhile, he'd owed money to some bad people, and if you don't pay up the bad people, they could break your kneecaps or something. So we made sure that he got his. I might do another mask fashion show. I don't know. I think that there may have been a few that I forgot to include in that one. Even though, as more and more parts of the country open up, the masks are going to be less and less a necessity, even though, as per our Governor Murphy's orders, a mask wearing can be required at the discretion of businesses you go in. Also, if you enter airports, if you take any kind of public transportation, if you go into federal buildings that have front-facing offices, then you do have to wear a mask. And so far, the Atlantic City casinos, they say you can go mask-free if you're fully vaccinated. Of course, what are you going to do? Go on the honor system and have people tell you that they're vaccinated, or should we bring our vaccine cards, which I do bring with me? And I know you're not supposed to laminate them because lamination can damage things. But yes, I am very proud to say that I got my vaccine, and I nagged my mother enough so that she finally made an appointment and got her first shot. And I think sometime next week she gets her second shot or something. But I mean, I had to. They, on one hand, were making it seem like everybody that wants it has gotten it already. And my mother, every time she would call, she would get the busy signal, or else they would say that they had appointments up in Newark, New Jersey, or places that are nowhere near to here. And my mother is not the most ambulatory person there is, even though one of her friends got her this real fancy walker that has a built-in chair. And with that, she was actually able to go to a nearby Walgreens on foot. I offered to go with her, but she declined, which is just as well because, to be honest with you, I didn't feel like wading through the hoodlums to go there. But I don't understand why I can't screw this damn ball on this thing. So it's the neighborhood has been really lively lately, but it always is. I actually got a good night's sleep last night, but the last couple of nights I've only gotten 2 or 3 hours of sleep because the idiots have to decide to loiter right underneath my bedroom window. And I have to open up the window and threaten to call the cops. And sometimes I say, I've dialed the 1 and I've dialed the 1. I dialed the 9 and I've dialed the 1. And actually, I don't call 911. I do the non-emergency number, and sometimes I call the vice number. And I've got these numbers memorized. It's pretty bad when you have a police number memorized. It just goes to show how bad things are. And usually when you call and complain, they tell you to come on out, down, and there's a whole bunch of them. Like, right, I'm going to go outside and get my ass whooped. You know, I was punched already, and I made the video about that. You know, these people, and oh man, it's just, I won't bore you with the drama. It's just kind of, it's stressful, you know. So, but one of my friends told me that he thought he had a possible roommate situation for me with somebody who I don't know, some older person, old enough to be my father, who lives in downtown LA. I am I just prevented you from being censored. YouTube tries to censor people's speech, and I'm not about censorship. So you can say naughty words on my channel. Bastardo. Is that Italian? So yeah, if you ever think that you're being discriminated against, sure, sue. Unless your lawyers are the pain in the ass ones that insist that you give a $5,000 retainer and then they eke away billable hours. I would like to say that I love attorneys. I have a little bit of a dubious opinion of them because the one time I had to hire one, she did diddly squat for me and except spend all our money and spent my money and my parents' money and gave me no satisfaction. So if you have a lawyer, I hope it's a good one. That's all I say. Obviously, they are necessary and they do some good, but a lot of lawyers also just let their paralegals do all the work, have you do all the legwork, and then they charge you $250 an hour. Well, hey, it is what it is. I just have a dim view of people that take advantage of people financially. Obviously, attorneys have skills that us lay people do not have, and they know we need them, but yeah, they don't run cheap. And I've heard that the people that get public defenders, now they call them free, but I heard they're still charged $100. I'm not a jailbird, so I really don't know about those things, but I have been in jury duty before, so I do rub elbows with them on occasion, even though the funny thing is that in Los Angeles, whenever I got the call for jury duty, I usually found a way to get out of it. Because when you do a lot of 5 lines or less acting, you are on call as an actor, and you have pagers. At least this we carried pagers. Now people probably don't do pagers anymore because they think that everybody has cell phones. But you need to be able to be contacted for work, and if you're on call for work, you can't be wasting time doing jury duty. But meanwhile, here in New Jersey, I'm actually interested and willing to do jury duty, and I'll put on the business suit and everything. I'll carry a briefcase and all that, and yet they seem to find a reason to not need me for whatever. And the sad thing is, from my experience, the people that show up for jury duty do not dress professionally, even when they have a list of general what the expectations are. There's a whole lot of people that do not care about showing proper respect for the court. And I could see if you absolutely do not have anything appropriate. But if people don't have so-called appropriate clothing, they could wear maybe what they would wear for church or synagogue or something. Just show some respect. And you see these people wearing shorts and sloppy t-shirts and things. And there I am wearing a 3-piece suit and a tie, all that, you know. And one time I had a court appearance because I'd actually pressed charges against some asshole guy who actually danced near me. This is at Tropicana at a place called Tango's Lounge. And this young guy actually lifted up my skirt, and I was quite shocked and voiced objection, of course. And I actually did press charges, but the guy actually denied doing it and said he never saw me a day in my life. And then they forced us into arbitration. And arbitration, the whole idea behind that is they expect you to come to some kind of an agreement. And how the heck can a person come to an agreement with somebody that lifts up their skirt and exposes their underwear for all the world to see? I cannot come to an agreement with a person that does something like that to me, even though I know that there's a whole hell of a lot worse things that can be done. And let's face it, the view that people got is nothing they wouldn't have gotten on a stage back in the day. Okay. And it's not like I'm some great moralist. But still, the whole point of the matter was it was a very disrespectful thing and it was unnecessary. And it's not the sort of thing that I would ever do to somebody. But people sometimes get liquored up and they just get really handsy and really brave. I'm telling you, I'm so glad I got sober. Even at my drunken conditions, I would never pull something like that. See now Facebook, YouTube keeps on trying to censor you, Emmanuel. I'm not going to censor you, okay? It gives me an option to hide or to show, and I put show. You know, even if YouTube doesn't like some of the dialogue, I don't call this the freedom stream for nothing. I don't think that people come to America or enjoy being citizens here and expect to be muzzled. It's bad enough myself being a YouTube content creator, I am actively discouraged from covering certain subjects. And I was probably even taking a chance when I talked about Mike Lindell. I'm still hoping to acquire a cardboard cutout of him. I would really like to find one. I would love to have it for my set. But I suppose those things only go to people who are authorized resellers or something. Or it would cost me a pretty penny, and I'm not exactly what you call flush. I met somebody, well, I didn't meet them, but on Facebook they have all kinds of people, including cannabis businesses, mostly, I guess, in California and in Florida and stuff. But what I'm curious about is how a person can sell weed cross country when I thought it was against the law to transport uh, coast to coast, because federally cannabis is still illegal, even though there's at least 12, 13, I don't know how many states in America now that went fully legal. And New Jersey's fully legal for all people, adults 21 and older, regardless of health status. California is fully legal for all adults 21 and older, regardless of health status. And like California, New Jersey was first a medical state before it became fully legal. There might be, I know there is, but might meaning I might be attending a cannabis uh, activity later on this month. It depends. Supposedly somebody was going to pay to get me in. I don't know if that's still going to go. Of course, I might just take the money and put that toward my next computer fund, because if it's $20 to get in and it's 3 days, that would be $60. Frankly, it would be more useful for me to put that toward electronics rather than just put it toward 3 days at a convention where the weed wouldn't be free anyway, you know. So I mean, and what would it be for me to walk around looking at a bunch of people getting stoned, and they're either brought their own or they're spending money to buy it, and I would have to spend more money just to get some. So I question whether it would even be worth it. But we'll see how it goes. Uh, but yeah, because I helped my brother out of a jam, he gave me one of his extra computers. But the thing is, it was refurbished by one of his friends for him. And when I tried to get into my Hotmail, it wouldn't let me set it up. It kept on saying that it would send an email to one of my brother's emails. And when I decided to use his email address, send him something, it apparently was one of those aliases. So I couldn't even contact him. And my brother's on vacation now, so he's unreachable. And not only that, but the person who fixed his computer is out of state. So nothing can be done until my brother comes back from vacation. And meanwhile, I really kind of think it sucks that I can't check my Hotmail, because that was my primary email address. And that also is where sometimes I get surveys I get paid to take. And everything that I miss taking is money that I miss getting. So I'm really out of work, and it's really annoying. And with this one computer, I haven't really wanted to waste time doing day job tasks because they're not very lucrative. And I would just as soon do other things with this computer, such as what I'm doing right now. This is much more important to me, maintaining my YouTube schedule and talking to you and keeping an active presence here. And I really hated being away. That month that I was not able to produce content, I missed a total of 16 of my shows. I mean, I was counting. I was so depressed. I was looking at my calendar, and I was even projecting how many shows I would miss if I kept on being able to post. And it was just really, really depressing me. That said, all the time that I was not able to spend in front of a screen, I was able to get a lot of housework done and different things. And then I finally got set up with medical appointments that I have not been able to get done for many, many years because I did not have access to a doctor. Because at least out here, it's so hard to get medical attention if you don't have enough of the ID that they want. And finally, I went to the emergency room, place of last resort, with things which I won't get into now. And they referred me to another place where they assured me that I wouldn't be expected to produce a bunch of ID that I don't have. I mean, I have expired photo ID in a different form that they don't even accept anymore. The place isn't even open. It's like from county clerk. And of course, because of COVID-19, you couldn't get into the DMV where the non-driver IDs are made, and they are open now. But I wouldn't want to go and get my picture taken for ID until I was able to get my roots done. And in order to have my roots done, I have to undo my hair and brush through and wash it and all that stuff. And just, there's reasons why I haven't been able to do that. Unless I do something where I put the hair over the front to cover up my roots or something. Or even if I really had to get some spray color and spray my roots just for temporary to cover it up, just so that the picture looks all right. Because I mean, I'm not going to take a bad picture just out of desperation to get my ID. I just don't understand our bureaucratic system where healthcare providers are more interested in you being able to prove your identity than they are in giving care. And I have insurance. It's probably the best kind of insurance because it doesn't charge for prescription drugs, and it covers me out of state. So, but next week I get my first medical test done, and meanwhile, I found an organization that will take donations, clothes and whatnot, and sell them. It's a thrift store that donates to a cat rescue. The place is called Muse to You, and it's in Ocean City, New Jersey. And all their proceeds go to cat rescue. And of course, that subject is near and dear to my heart. And it enables me to make a donation without actually giving up money. And I have so much stuff to get rid of. Things, oversized clothing that I got from my mother that didn't fit her. And I'd already planned on getting rid of. And I figured I have so much stuff to donate that I think that volunteers would be willing to drive up here and pick it up. I would have to make so many trips by bus if I was to go that way. And frankly, that would be an expense that I would rather not deal with. And since I spotted that money to my brother, I'm not flush now anyway. So any stuff they want, they're going to have to pick up. So, and depending on what the tests come back with, if they came back with any particularly bad news, I would be making a much bigger donation. I mean, let's face it, you can't take it with you, right? But I really wanted to get that used bus. And obviously, I'd have to get my eyes examined and fixed, and a real driver's license, and learn to drive again. And I haven't driven since last time I drove anything at all was the year 2000. The last time I drove with a license was 1993. Okay, that was when my car was stolen. I have not driven since then. So it's been so long since I've driven. There's a part of me that's a little bit nervous about that, but it's probably because I can't see. I don't think you'd want me behind the wheel with my vision issues, especially at night. And I don't know that I'm really too keen on putting contact lenses in my eyes again, but I'm not keen on the idea of wearing glasses either, even though I really like aviator frames. That would be the style I would have. What I really would want is the laser get zapped. As a matter of fact, I know the person I would go to. I wouldn't even need to go to California for that. There's a really good doctor who actually got zapped my dad's cataracts, and he did my mother, but she had the option of either getting full-on vision correction where she wouldn't need to wear glasses, or just do her vision so that it would be what it was, and then she could put her glasses and still wear glasses. She chose the kind where she would still wear glasses because she feels that glasses are a part of her identity. Dracula, hey, I owe you an apology, Dracula. I fully intended to go onto your stream after I was done. I put the metadata in my channel in this thing. Then I posted the link to Facebook and MeWe. Then I sat down in front of my computer, in front of my bed. Then I fell asleep with all my makeup on, okay? I woke up about 4 hours later, still with my makeup on, and I would assume by that time you probably weren't broadcasting. I felt like a total idiot. So, but yeah, I'm not getting enough sleep. But I got some decent shut eye last night. I actually didn't go to bed till about the sun was coming up, but I went to bed and I didn't get up till almost 1 in the afternoon. So I actually finally got some sleep. No, I have not heard of Inspirational Nomad, but that said, there is somebody that I subscribe to who is living out of a van or something, and he has a lot of information about van conversions and things. How people can live in things that small, I don't know. I mean, that said, I've slept in my sports car before, and I know what it's like to live in a car. But I mean, with all the food, I mean, not food, with all the clothes I have, and the fact that I have 2 cats, I'm thinking a school bus for me is the way to go. It's bigger than a jitney, and I do have a lot of stuff, even with all the stuff that I'm giving away. And I mean, I tried to be ruthless with eliminating things that I didn't absolutely love. But I have more stuff than I need. I've been giving away some of my makeup. I have a friend who identifies as transgender, and this person, I gave up my Too Faced Christmas Star palette. I didn't care for that palette too much anyway because half the colors were neutrals, and I really prefer bright colors. And this person, um, I'm trying to weigh my words here very carefully. This person probably would be safer wearing more natural looking makeup because of the environment they are in. They are in, let's just say, not the safest of places, where if they were obviously trans, they might put themselves in a vulnerable position. And so for people that are already at risk, maybe they need to keep a lower profile. So anyway, I gave this person that makeup palette and some applicators, and they liked some of my stretch pants and things, and I had a pair of shoes that fit them. So and I was only happy to give things that I had and stuff. So and they had a bowl full of weed, and they got me stoned, and it was really good stuff, and it was the first weed I'd smoked in 5 days, so I really appreciated it. So I met somebody who sells weed somewhere in California. He's willing to ship, but the thing is, I never did find out if they take PayPal. And oh, Florida seems like such a nice area, even though I'm worried about the lightning strikes and stuff. But at least they don't have as many earthquakes as they have in California. And I heard that they're having some earthquake swarms in California. One of my buddies told me his area, he had 5.2 today, and that's definitely feelable. You should be able to feel anything more than a 4. And I'm trying to remember what the earthquake was that we felt here that was uh, epicenter was near Washington, D.C., and was fairly shallow, and you could feel it from the Appalachian Trail up to Canada, supposedly. And It happened on a Tuesday on one of my mother's days off of work, and it scared my mother. Not it scared her a lot, but it definitely caught her attention. And I was glad that it was an experience that we got to share, because my mother, no amount of asking would encourage her to be willing to go out to California with me, even though I offered to have her to make a master bedroom suite in the bus for her. Oh, I got a little friend here. You want to see somebody? Oh, excuse me. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no, I'm not gonna. No, 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 no. Here, 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 here. Come on, eat the num nums. Here, you want to eat? I want to eat here. Come on, I'm trying to give you your food. Oh, all right. Oh my goodness. All right, all right, all right. Jeez. Okay, Cassie here. Look at Cassie. Cassie's eating your num num. Yeah, Cassie. Like, she is such an opinionated, assertive little cat, isn't she? My little girl. And she is a bottomless pit. She really, I don't know where she puts it. I just don't know where she puts it. But, oh, you know what? I'm not going to write this down, but since the chat preview gets attached to this video, I will look later. It would seem like I know more people than I do, but really most of the people I know are from throughout the country, especially California. But I mean, I know people from all over the world, actually, but many of the people I know from all over the world are people that I met on the internet, on social media and stuff. But I'm really thinking I should expand my repertoire of, YouTube probably will be my biggest love as far as video platforms go, but because of the increasing censorship that we're getting, I think that I really do need a Parler and a Rumble presence. But I believe that they require the two-step authentication that requires texting and a cell phone. And even though I do have possession of a cell phone now, it doesn't have a data plan. I'm not going to get a data plan for it, mostly because they're unaffordable, but also because I cannot make heads or tails of that thing. The screen is so small, and a computer screen like what I'm looking at right now is just, that's what I'm used to. How people get used to really small screens, I don't know. Uh, this place, I'm telling you, I'm glad that they're starting to finally charge in the parking lots. For a while there, they didn't bother staffing a lot of the parking lots here, and so people were just parking for free. But now that we're opening up, since COVID seems to really be going away, if people keep on protecting themselves and more people get vaccinated, and I understand that there are problems with children getting sick with it because they're not getting vaccinated enough. Now, I don't know if they ever approved for children under 12 to be able to get the shots or not. I thought it was 12 to 15. I don't know. I am on an e-list regarding vaccinations in the state of New Jersey, and I just also signed up for an e-list about business law and practices, figuring that, I'm not operating a small business in the traditional sense of the word. I mean, for really, YouTube is a business if you think about it. I mean, I take it very seriously. Um, I have to be careful about the links I put on there, though, because YouTube threatened to take down a video that I had because of a link that they called spamming. And of all the videos to do this to, they did it to the one where I talked about the BLM people trying to paint our boardwalk and how a bunch of us showed up to make sure that they wouldn't do so. And I'm glad that the cops stepped in and made sure they didn't do it, because it's illegal to deface the boardwalk here. And I sure as hell don't want to see Black Lives Matter painted in front of the boardwalk hall which used to be Atlantic City Convention Hall, where my dad and I worked. I mean, that place is very, very special. That's where the Miss America pageant used to be. And that's where the Beatles played before I was born. And where so many great rock bands played, and a lot of great conventions that I worked at with my father. And that's a very, very special building. And if somebody was to have put some painted slogans of any kind on there, it just would have been reprehensible. And I wanted to call local talk radio to talk about the demonstration with the pro-Palestinian people, but I just, for whatever reason, I didn't call. I'm really not big on making phone calls anyway. I just do not feel comfortable talking on the telephone. I feel intimidated. I mean, business is one thing, but like I missed my chance to call Rush Limbaugh. For some reason, I figured that the call screener wouldn't believe that my name really is Leathur. And I've gotten arguments over my name before. And, you know, who feels like getting into an argument about something like that? And obviously, now that the man's dead, I lost my chance. But, I have something that I want to show off. Speaking of Rush Limbaugh, hold that thought. Look at this. Rush, the lovable, adorable little fuzzball. I love Rush. I'm pretty sure a lot of my viewers do too. I got something else to show you. Got to find it. Hold on. I think it's in my closet. Oh, yes. Look at this. Isn't this nice? Got it on wish.com. So it wasn't too expensive, but it wasn't as cheap as I'm usually used to paying for t-shirts and things. And now the thing is, though, with this, I ordered a size extra small, and it's not nearly as small as I would have liked it to be. And I don't personally find oversized clothing to be attractive on my body because it just makes me look bigger than I am. And I don't work out and watch what I eat to be out of shape. You know what I mean? So I really do have a problem finding clothes that fit. It just drives me crazy. I found a shirt. Speaking of clothes that don't fit, check this out. This is something where I'm about to show you something that I found in a pile on an immigrant street. And the reason why I call it an immigrant street, there's a street nearby that I used to do cat feeding until I was told specifically not to do it. A place where I heard that they were putting poison out for cats. Okay, a street where most people do not speak English. Most of the immigrants are Muslim. They wear the headscarves, the burqas, the niqabs, the this and that, the bathrooms, Gene and Joe, and who knows who. And I was told not to feed these cats. This guy claimed that he fed them, but it's funny, I go back there, I see no evidence of this. Last time I walked in the alleyway that connects that street with another street, I saw a total of 5 cats, feral, some of them are young, they're producing. What I really need to do is I need to arrange with somebody local who has access to traps. And the thing is, once you get the traps, you have to have them in a safe place where some terrible humans aren't going to find the cats and hurt them, and that's a very real danger. We have people who hate cats that live around here. And obviously, when you have immigrant populations who do not like these animals and want to kill them, and as reprehensible as this is to you, I hope you feel the way I do. There are people that are like this. But check this out. This shirt, I saw this, I washed the hell out of it, thinking that it would fit me. And unfortunately, it says size small, but then it says 4 to 6. Size 4, size 6 is not small. Hello? But then there are catalogs that say a size 8 is small. They're not small. I mean, you know. And so I usually wear children's sizes. This is, well, if I tried buttoning it, is loose on the side, is loose on this side. But if this fit, this would be absolutely gorgeous. It's paisley print. The color's perfect, but it's too big. Now, it's not big enough for my mother to wear it, but it's too big for me. So I think I am going to put this in with the clothes that I'm giving to me to you. And it's a shame because I really did want it, but it doesn't fit me. It doesn't fit me. And if I wear something that does not fit me, it's not going to be flattering. And and I see there's some current young entertainers, I'm not going to drop any names here, who are known for wearing oversized clothing, and it's not flattering. But then there are some people that don't like tight clothing because maybe they feel that I think some people just feel that their real body shape is nobody's business, and people have the right to express themselves how they want. I'm not here to judge, but I don't know. I think I should just shut up before I say something that will hurt somebody's feelings. That's not my intention. It really isn't. But in the same token, I don't waste time being politically correct. I that's not my style. Well, when I was younger, it kind of was because I wanted to be as agreeable as possible. But you end up wasting so much time and you end up not speaking clearly. And there's so much room for misinterpretation. So it's really better to just be forthright. And even if it's a little bit on the blunt side, it's better to just say what you feel. Try to be as precise as possible. But really, I so agree with President Trump when he talks about saying it like it is. And even though so many people don't like his style and what he said on Twitter and things, I rather found him entertaining. I don't find him offensive. Even if he said things, I thought it was funny as all get out. I mean, I wouldn't want to get on his bad side. I can only imagine the kind of nicknames he might make for me. But you know what? So don't get on his bad side if you don't want to be called something like lying Ted or whatever. And you notice that Ted Cruz doesn't get insulted anymore and he acts loyal and stuff. Don't be disloyal to people and they won't come back at you. You see, President Trump, what a lot of people don't understand, Trump values loyalty. Don't stab him in the back, won't fuck you over. Simple as that. I don't think that's unreasonable to expect loyalty. And so many people have betrayed the man. And not that I can claim to know how somebody feels, but I'm just putting myself in his shoes if I can. I know it's hard for me to imagine being a business school graduate and to be all successful and all that. But still, I think about, how people think, what would Jesus do? A lot of times when I'm about to make a business decision or something, I think, what would President Trump do? And I really do like to use that exercise when I'm making a decision or when I'm exploring my options or things. I think about people who I respect and I try to imagine how they would handle a certain situation. And it's a good exercise. And even though I may very well be wrong about certain things, because I'm thinking about people who I do not know personally. But it's a way to think about things and be more objective than you could be when you're looking at your own situation. And I don't always have the luxury of asking other opinions, or maybe what I'm dealing with is too personal and I would rather not seek outside counsel, especially if there are people that I know here locally, most of whom I really do not ask to get involved in things with me because I really value my privacy more than you would think, since considering that I am a content creator. I think you can very well be a public figure and create content and have a very free and easy conversational style and yet not get too personal. It's very possible. It's very possible. I mean, I think that I come across as friendly and fun, but I still know what to keep close to my chest. You know? But that said, I would hope that the me that you see on camera is the same me that you would meet. I don't really think there's any difference. I certainly don't dress any different, you know, unless you see me on a day when I'm hiding out from the gangs and I have to kind of hide my hair under a hat or something, you know. Oh, so I'll tell you a little neighborhood story for you. I went out to secret stuff. I love your videos. I just love your personality, and I love that you aren't afraid to confront bullshit when you see it. And I have a lot of respect for you. You know, I don't get nearly as much time to watch other content creators as much as I would like. And that month that I had off, when my computers were all broken down, I just really hated that. I really missed being able to create content. And because it takes so much time, is anybody that does what I do knows, it's not just the time filming, it's the editing if it's a video as opposed to a live stream, it's the research that goes in it, it's straightening up your set. And I took my set down because I wanted to make some changes. And then when I had other things to deal with in the house, and then at one point I was actually getting ready to move. And that, eh, you know, is obviously stressful. But the thing is, I didn't have a place in mind to move to. I just wanted to get the hell out of here. And the thing is that I don't want to move before I'm absolutely ready. I want to make sure that I have my school bus first. And of course, I want to take most of the seats out. And I want to do a bunch of modifications to it so that I can set up a YouTube studio inside. I wanted to get one of those litter robots. And they cost $500 so that my cats don't stink up the place. And I wanted to build, well, I have a cat tree. I wanted to build a walkway inside so that we keep the whole thing cleaner. And I don't want to have much carpeting in it. I wanted to have easy to clean surfaces, and I want to have a nice kitchen in it, but I don't want to use gas canisters or anything explosive. That's too scary. I don't want to deal with that. I really want to explore different kinds of solar battery and things like that. They have this thing for people who have boats and things like that that looks like one of those portable Christmas trees, the artificial ones that you fold up, and it has a long cord and it has this tree. Oh, I love cat feeders. I met. I know I'm jumping ahead of myself here because I want to talk about cats. One day I went out to go and get my mother and myself some lunch. And I snuck out the back way, and I had to go through this alley so that I wouldn't have to pass the gangbangers and idiots in the other entrance to my apartment. And as I was coming back, I saw a penny on the street. I don't care. A penny's still money. I'm going to pick it up. There's 3 pennies. I bent over to pick up this penny, and this old white guy yelled at me. Now, before any of you ask why I'm mentioning colors, I'll mention the color whether you're black. I'll mention the color whether you're white. Hey, the news does it. Whenever there's any encounter in between races, especially if they're trying to force the narrative of white people are bad. I know you read the news, you see what's going on. Well, this was a grouchy old white guy, and he was saying, "Oh no, can't have you looking at things that aren't there." I guess he must have thought I was one of the crackhead cuckoos that are around here. You got so many people with schizophrenia here. You got people selling heroin and fentanyl, literally on the corner. People up the street. If you hear somebody say, "Yep, yep," that's a drug dealer. So if you hear that sometimes out here the window, and I have my window closed despite the fact that it was like 90 degrees today. So anyway, this old guy's telling me about, oh, I've thought of it. Of course, you want to get somebody mad at you, let them think you're filming them. I mean, I've had people threaten to burn our house down. I've had people telling me to bring it outside. And at one time, there's two black guys punched me in the face. I made a video about that. And then people had the nerve on YouTube to tell me that they thought it was offensive. I shouldn't have mentioned the color. Well, bullshit. I call bullshit. I have the right, if I have been the victim of a violent crime, and the last I heard, being punched in the face is considered a violent crime. Granted, it's not the most violent crime you can get, but sure, I have a right to talk about it. And anyway, you want to hear the story about that? I do have video, just look for it. But anyway, this guy is offering me his money, his opinion. And I said, excuse me, it was not imaginary. It wasn't nothing. I'm now 3 cents richer than I was before. You need to just buzz off. And so I kept on going. Then I was getting madder and madder, so I stopped. And I went back and I said, further, what makes you think you even have the right to opine on what I'm doing? Mind your own goddamn business. But, and I'm mentioning this because this was a time when I actually got dissed by a fellow whitey. Usually problems I get are racially motivated problems. This neighborhood is so treacherous. But I wanted to move out, not just for that, but just for some other reasons. And I just, living out here is very stressful. And having been out of work is stressful. And trying to find cash paying work around here has been very difficult. And the thing is, you can't tell me that it doesn't exist, because my brother has 5 different under the table jobs. Okay. Obviously, though, it helps to have friends that get you to work, right? But still, you can't tell me it doesn't exist. And the thing is, I cannot cash checks. You need ID to cash checks. It used to be, now, when I was doing that acting in Los Angeles, I would just send my checks down back to here, and my parents would just deposit them in their bank, and then they would send me the cash. Not now, in a post 9/11 world, it's a lot harder to do that. And the thing is, I don't understand. If, say, I get a check and I endorse it, I give it to my mother, why can't she deposit it? But the thing is, my mother is 80 years old, and she has not done her banking in several years. She gives the money or whatever to my brother, and he goes to the bank. So, and I have never met these people at this bank. So they don't know me, and I can't cash checks. That's just the way it is. As a matter of fact, I worked on a movie last year. Unfortunately, I can't say anything about it. I can't even say the name of it, because I signed something saying that I can't till it comes out. And thanks to COVID, it didn't come out in the theaters. I think they're going to stream it maybe on Netflix or something. When they finally make an announcement about, then I'll be able to talk about my experience with it. But suffice it to say, I never cashed a check, and the check expired. But there's light at the end of the tunnel for that. It was written under central casting. So there used to be Cenex and central casting. Cenex was the non-union wing. Central casting was the union wing. And that's like the main casting payroll for California actors. And they also have central casting East, that I think is in New York City, but the check is written out from Burbank. So when I contacted them, see, they had written out the check in my old name. You probably figured out that Rokk might not have been my birth name. It wasn't. But for $1,000, anybody can go to court and have their name changed. And so that's what I did. But before I did it fully legal, see, in the state of California, there's 2 ways that you can change your name. You can either use the usage method, which doesn't involve going to court and everything, but it does involve you using your name consistently, including when you pay bills and everything. And usually people do, go to court or to be able to have it to pay their bills and everything. But what they do is, if you haven't done it legal yet, they do an AKA, where they have your birth name and AKA your name. So, but because my social security number is obviously the same, when they issued me the check, they just put it under the name that I haven't used since before some of you guys were born. Okay. You know, not going to say too much here. Well, they wrote me, do I have enough watch hours? Well, that's the thing is, I don't have, first of all, I don't have 1,000 subs. And then you need not only 1,000 subs, but I think you need, what, 4,000 watch hours? And then even after that, they have to review your channel to make sure that it is advertiser friendly. And the thing is, I'm not afraid to tackle certain subjects that are controversial. And my best performing videos, I believe, tend to be controversial ones, political ones, and then certain subjects I cover, they don't like me talking about. I believe I got in trouble for talking about the election integrity, even though not, and you know, I'm sure that they have a 4-strike thing about that. But at least they didn't grandfather it in to include the prior talk about it. And I do an awful lot of talk about Trump. You guys know that. I mean, I'm not going to shut up about the things that matter. And if that means that I eventually get kicked off, but like half the time when I talk about weed, and I love weed, I really do. And the thing is, cannabis is becoming increasingly legal. It may not be legal on the federal level, but state by state, it is becoming legal in more and more places. And it's legal in my home state here. It's legal in California. And some of my videos, they don't have a problem with, but others, they gave me a notice saying that no matter what, I'll never be able to monetize it. And the stupid thing is that YouTube seems to think one of my weed videos is a children's video. What the hell kind of sense does that make? Why would I ever intend any adult themed videos to be for children? I'm not about corrupting minors. I mean, now if the person's only 16, that's a big deal, but come on. But really, and you can't argue with a machine. And since YouTube is controlled by this AI, and then, of course, they have human eyes that will oversee things. And certain things can be appealed. And now YouTube tried to take down a video that I did talking about one of my aunts who I had, after, I went to the Trump inauguration, and I had the audacity to send her a souvenir, like a postcard about MAGA, this or whatever. And she is this extreme liberal Trump hater, Trump derangement syndrome and all that. But anyway, she apparently was traumatized by this. She was triggered by a little business card about Trump. And so for my mother's birthday, she wrote this long letter complaining about, I guess my aunt assumes that not only myself, but possibly my mother might be Trump supporters. Meanwhile, my mother can't stand Trump. Okay. But so my aunt was freaking out and saying that all these years, the entire 4 years, she has been traumatized because I like Trump. It's like, come on. I mean, these people that are so sensitive, looking for a reason to be offended, getting triggered by everything. And so I made a video about it. And YouTube, a couple weeks later, told me that they were taking it down because of the subject matter. And I appealed that right away. And fortunately, they let a human being look at it, and they realized that they had no right to take it down. Because all the video was about was my talking about a family member that didn't like my politics. And, we don't have the freedom to talk here that we used to. Freedom of speech is so at risk because of the Silicon Valley. Oh man. I had for the longest time Trump signs in my windows. I had this. I had all kinds of Trump stuff. Today, I was flashing this because of a political gathering across the street. But I finally end up taking my things out of my window because we have gangs that hang out selling, and I have been known to sometimes dump water on people underneath because the police suggested I do this. Okay, they said that I should use the sprayer in our kitchen sink, and when people, well, okay, one time I got this hooker and pimp really mad at me. They were having a fight under my bedroom window, totally disturbing me when I was trying to sleep. It was like 4 in the morning or something. And a lot of times I am up that late. Sometimes I'm filming that late. I'm more energetic late at night. That's just how I roll. And I kept my head away from them so they couldn't see me, turn my light out, and dump some water on them. And that woman was screaming like a rape ape. She was bitching and moaning and calling me every name in the book and everything. And like about a year later, she was, I think that yeah, I was crossing the Hooker Street. There's a street near here that is known as the Hooker Store, okay? And I was waiting to cross the street. And she must have heard my voice and must have figured out that maybe I was the one that did it. And I had to do a Texas two-step away from her, kind of. But, I mean, why do people think they have the right to cause disturbances in a residential neighborhood at an ungodly hour when there are families, there are children, there are senior citizens here, and uh, most of them don't look like me. Matter of fact, none of them look like me. But why people think that they can be so disrespectful, I would not go into people's neighborhoods and disturb them. But here you have crazy black churches who are obnoxiously noisy. And when I'm safely moved away from here, I have 2 videos that I had to make private because I didn't want the people I was complaining about to find them. But there are churches here that are not like any church that I've ever been in, that are um, for a demographic that is not me, let's just say. And uh, these are churches that move into apartment buildings where families live there, and they're noisy, and they have drums, and the big mouth pastor doesn't need a microphone but has a microphone anyway. And let's just say Sunday mornings are HE double hockey sticks, okay? And my family was here for 7 years before they moved in, and they're just so obnoxious. And not only are they bad on Sunday mornings, but they have activities throughout the week, and they attract ex-cons, current cons, gangs. I don't mind that they attract homeless people because I have homeless friends, and that homelessness can happen to anybody, okay? But they attract people that loiter around. They attract people that ring my doorbell thinking I have something to do with them. And the thing is, I listen for the doorbell because we have to listen for the mail carrier. The reason why I broke this finger a couple years ago, I was running for the doorbell, and I ended up smashing my finger in the woodwork. And when I had surgery on it, this has screws and pins and all that thing. It looks like chainmail. I'll show you the X-ray sometime. It's really cool. Matter of fact, I could do that right now. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Here it is. HEPA laws be damned. I'm going to show you if it's here. Oh, my dad has been dead since 2009, but I'm going to show you a picture of him from when he was the head of security at Convention Hall. And I was the first female to join our local labor union for security guards. I co-edit, as George W. Bush may have said, I co-edificated our labor union. I was the first female to join the labor union as a security guard. They didn't make a big deal about it. Ooh, hand in the concrete. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That, man, down. Okay, you want to see an early young picture? I believe I told you guys that I was a redhead. Well, this is a picture of my father and his brother, my uncle, and my brother, girl with the big glasses. Me. Started in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My father is here. This is my Uncle Pep. My Uncle Pep was a fireman. He was a fire chief. Fortunately, he didn't die in a fire. He died he was supposed to get a quadruple bypass. And he was afraid to go to the doctor. And the funny thing was, the miracle funny thing, my father went to Pittsburgh to visit him and spent a nice long weekend with him. And as soon as my father came back home, his brother was dead. But well, my father's brother was such a nice man. He was really, really wonderful in a way that firemen are, and he was nurturing and kind. Uh, but my father was a Korea War vet, and my father is one of these my country right or wrong kind of guys. My father would love Trump. Matter of fact, you know who liked my father? My father used to sell buddy poppies in front of Trump Plaza Hotel Casino, that of course was imploded on the day that Rush Limbaugh died. Well, my father got to know Donald Trump had a brother that used to not the one that was the alcoholic. I'm pretty sure that guy died before Trump built these casinos here. Thank you for that secret stuff. Uh, but yeah, my father really liked Trump's brother. He used to talk to my father when Dad was selling the buddy poppies. My father would sit right on the boardwalk in front of the casino. And the thing is, the casino at the time had this facade that was mirrored, had like these gold mirrors. And my father ended up getting skin cancer. He had like 8 skin cancers cut off of him before he died. And skin cancer sometimes metastasizes to other body organs, and like the pancreas and the lungs, and that's what got my dad. So, which brings me to another subject that I wanted to cover, and is also why I am wearing the bikini. It's not just because I'm hot as Hades. Um, Now that the summer is upon us, people are getting out in the sun, and it is so important for people to protect their skins. And I hope all you guys are wearing sunblock of some kind. It's not an option. You really should wear sun protection year round, including cloudy days, because the sun gets at you through windows. The sun gets at you even worse through vehicles, car windows, bus windows. It's brutal. You can't very well open up an umbrella to shade yourself. You do, you get the people real pissed off. Um, I was a redhead naturally. You can see it's faded a lot since my youth. And matter of fact, I think I even have a couple of gray hairs. Did I say that? You didn't hear anything? So some people, such as myself, cannot get in the sun. So I have been a sunblock person since I was a child. And they didn't have bigger than SPF 15 back in those days. Now you can get higher than 100 plus. A lot of those higher SPF things you have to buy overseas. And as a matter of fact, as good as our products are here in America, you can buy more effective sunblocks actually that are sold in Australia that for some reason the FDA has not approved of. I cannot think of exactly what the name of the chemical is. And I don't know from going there, I've never been to Australia. And quite frankly, because it's such a long airplane flight, I don't know that I actually would go, just because I don't like to fly. Last time I flew was 1992. We had this thing called Operation Infinite Justice, which had to be renamed because that apparently was offensive to people. I believe it later became Operation Enduring Freedom, or maybe then after that, I believe was Operation Desert Storm. All I know is I was flying from Philadelphia, PHL, to Chicago O'Hare, and then I was interchanging to LAX. Well, between Philadelphia and Chicago, we had severe turbulence because the pilot had to fly just above a thunderstorm, and the plane was going like this and going like this and dipping and going like this, and it was very, very, very scary for me. I do not like to fly, and the thing is, this was before I got sober. I didn't quit drinking till 2004. Okay, and one of my acquaintances here, oh yeah, they're kind of like the American version of the Concord, right? And you know, the funny thing is, I know I keep on going ahead of myself here. I had gotten to the point where I would have been willing to fly on a Concorde because it's so fast and everything. But you know, the very last flight, it crashed from Paris. It crashed and killed everybody. And every time I hear about plane crashes, that just steals my resolve that I don't like planes. Well, when I touched down from this particular flight in Chicago O'Hare, I literally kissed the ground. But one thing that always sticks in my mind is all the military personnel in dress uniforms that were on that plane. You knew something was up. And this was in late May of 92. I'm sure I could find the journal I was keeping at the time, or where I wrote down exactly when this was. And the nice military person that I asked very respectfully said that he wasn't allowed to talk about it. But now we know that it was one of those things, that we were headed into war. Well, my mother wasn't home when I called. My father was. My father, when he was in the Korean War, he was in a propeller plane, which hit an air pocket over the Sea of Japan, and they went down like 10,000 feet. So that gave a distaste to my father about airplane flight. And my father was a cook in the Air Force. That's what he did. And my father, though, he wanted to see action so bad. He was always down on himself because he was only a cook. Meanwhile, every single veteran and current military people that he met, because he used to take me to some local VFW conventions, like the state convention. And one time my father and I went, well, my father went to the national convention when it was in Las Vegas, the very first time I ever went to Las Vegas. And this was in 1988, I think. I'm dating myself now. The jig's up. Nobody's going to know that I'm not old now. Maybe I should just keep my mouth shut. But anyway, that was the first time I went to Vegas. But no, that was such a scary flight. My father wired me money, Western Union. I ended up taking the train home the rest of the way because Chicago is a real hub for Amtrak. Um, but yeah, I only flew one time since then, and I didn't want to fly. I had a real bad boyfriend that I had to escape because he stole my car and he was abusive son of a bitch. So well, LA wasn't big enough for two of us. So I had a friend who wanted to go to Phoenix, Arizona to go there to dance. That's at the time I was a stage dancer. So I went out to Phoenix with her. And the thing is, I wanted to just take the Greyhound, which is 8 or 9 hours from Los Angeles. But she was passing bad checks, and I didn't know that. And she wanted me to get on a plane. And reluctantly, I got on a plane. But luckily, you go from Burbank to Phoenix, and that's Sky Harbor Airport. You're up and you're down. It's a very quick flight. And this was before I quit drinking. So I was slamming down those Long Island iced teas. I remember she was drinking mudslides. But part of maybe why the turbulence was so bad for me when I was between Philly and Chicago, because one of my local acquaintances here gave me a Percocet so that I would save money on drinking. But the thing with Percocets is because they have an opiate in them, they can exaggerate the turbulence feelings and make it feel worse than it was. My mother, as a matter of fact, she had to take Percocets because she had pain from having foot surgery. She had a twisted toe straightened out or something. And as a matter of fact, it got twisted again. But my mother actually hallucinated, and she didn't even have a fun hallucination. She had a hallucination that she had bought a bottle of bleach when she was at the supermarket. I mean, come on. don't have a lame hallucination. Hallucinate something cool, okay? But yeah, I have not. Since then, I just do not fly. I don't mind taking Greyhound bus across the country. Of course, you have to have the right kind of attitude to deal with it. You have to be flexible. You have to go prepared. You have to be prepared with things like earplugs, a good book, a bag of snacks, a radio, headphones. Now with the internet and things, I would definitely have a laptop or something. But and I remember I was wearing a sweatshirt from wait a minute, wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself. I was wearing, what the hell was I wearing in '93? Okay, it couldn't have been a political shirt then, but I know in subsequent trips I worn I got a sweatshirt when I went to President George W. Bush's second inauguration, because I'm a post 9/11 Republican. After 9/11 was when I switched parties. I was very happy with President George W. Bush's leadership. I loved his whoop ass attitude. And at the time, you could get, now anybody can attend a presidential inauguration, but if you see your congressman, he can actually get you the invitation. And it's a real nice frameable certificate that has your full name, and it says they request the honor of your presence at the inauguration of President. Um, so I didn't go through that to get my to go to the Trump inauguration. I just went. One great thing about living in my current shithole is it's real easy to get to Washington D.C. In like 3.5 hours. You can get there by bus. And another cool thing about Washington D.C. for me anyway right now is I happen to have a personal friend who lives there, and he lives 7 blocks from the White House, and he volunteers at that peace vigil that's in Lafayette Park, which is a park right across from the White House. Um, and the thing is, I was going to Washington D.C. fairly frequently. I went to the Walkaway March in 2018. It was 2018. I went to several Trump activities in 2019 and 2018. If not for COVID, I would have continued to go to things. But, and matter of fact, I know for a fact that I would have gone to that January 6th thing if it wasn't for COVID. And I could totally see myself if a police officer at the Capitol had lifted me up and invited me over the barricades and opened a door and let me in. I would have gone in. Sure, you open a door and say, "Come on in." I would have gone in. I would have had my laptop computer. I would have taken a picture with it, because and I'd be in jail right now. Because you see what's happening to people. They must have close to 400 people, if not more, that are in jail. I heard that people get overheard telling somebody that they were there, and even if they were nowhere near the Capitol, they are being rounded up and given felonies for the most penny ante bullshit. Because I love my president, I support my president. There's hardly anything that I don't love about him. And even if there's a few things that I might not agree with him on, I respect him. He's sincere. Trump was always my top choice of all the candidates that year. My second choice was actually Chris Christie, who I think kind of was, well, I don't want to say stabbed him in the back, but I don't know. Sometimes you get the feeling that a person is only backing somebody because they're hoping to get a job or something. I don't know. I can't tell the contents of somebody's heart, and I don't want to give false accusations. But I know I wanted to be there. I was a member of the Stop the Steal group on Facebook. Many of my friends did go. I wanted to go so badly. And the thing is, my mother is 80 years old. This was obviously before we had access to the vaccine. Our current governor was also having these rules, these quarantine rules, that if you did travel, you had to wait 2 weeks before coming home. And I did not have a safe spot place to quarantine before coming back into my home. And I could not risk getting my mother exposed to the virus. That's the whole thing, is that I had to think of her. And as much as I wanted to be in Washington, D.C., and I miss the camaraderie with kindred spirits. One of the many things that I don't like about here is that this is a place ridden with Democrats, full of Democrats. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just don't get the warm fuzzy vibes. And I was wearing my MAGA hat everywhere. I didn't care. I have Trump face masks, all that stuff. But my neighborhood is getting more and more dangerous. You have these people, and you have these schizophrenic, I guess they are, people that are walking around screaming, standing in a corner screaming. And there are some people that obviously they don't know my name. I'm glad they don't know my name, but they only call me Trump Girl. And somebody witnessed my losing one of my MAGA hats. And of course, they didn't bother letting me know that it blew off of me or whatever. And then a couple of weeks later, they were taunting me, saying, I know what happened to your hat. You got these real jerky people around here. And sometimes wearing the gear does put a target on you. I have worn two-sided Trump inauguration shirts and gotten pushed on dance floors before, and I turn around and I see that this girl that's pushing me, she's got an even bigger boyfriend. Nobody has the balls to do things just one-on-one. They do things hoping that you do something about it so that then they can give you a multiple beatdown, and as brave as I think I am and as unabashed a supporter of Trump and the GOP as I am, even I know when to kind of lay low a little bit. If I feel so much in danger that I have to put my hair under a beanie and stuff and literally be in hiding, and it's ridiculous. Nobody should have to live like that. But it is that scary out here. And you have social service agencies that are purportedly helping people to get clean and stuff, but people have to want to seek treatment. The laws aren't here do not allow for just plucking people off the streets and mandatory taking them in for treatment. And sometimes you can call, if you're concerned about a certain individual, and maybe they'll call the paramedics and stuff. But a couple hours later, people are back out there. And meanwhile, we have to put up with people screaming underneath your window, creating disturbances and stuff. And you have these churches and things that would be here to help people, but then when the people around need help, that's when these agencies are closed, or the people that aren't here. So the people aren't available to help the people in their hour of need. And meanwhile, they're creating disturbances and making neighbors suffer and stuff. And I'm this chihuahua that thinks she's a pit bull. And I will go out there. Another one of my pet peeves is people running their engines and running them and running them and running them and running them. And the thing is that fucks up the air out here and also fills up our stairwell. We have those stairwells that, you have to open the door and then the stairs inside. And the exhaust, if you're running your car right in front of my door, the exhaust fills up. My mother, she has heart failure. She's 80 years old. She only gets 30% of her oxygen when she breathes. She breathes, she huffs and puffs. She has shortness of breath. That's not good. So carbon monoxide, really not something that should be in her air. I can't open up my windows to cool off, and I don't have air conditioning. We can't afford the electric bill for air conditioning. And not only that, the air conditioners tend to have cords that are too short, and they wouldn't fit where our wall outlets are anyway. And you cannot use extension cords with heavy duty air conditioning cord. And I hate not having air conditioning. I have a fan aimed at my bed right now. Sometimes I have two fans. That means you wear the very absolute barest minimum of clothes. I think I can only twice in my life did I ever have air conditioning, and these were places in California. And when we did, we cycled the air conditioning on for like 15 minutes, standing right in front of the registers. I mean, that's how hot it was, and that's how expensive electric is. In California, because they're dependent on renewable energy, they're having these rolling blackouts, and sometimes they shut off the electricity so it doesn't spark and cause wildfires. And the reason why they have wildfires is because they don't clear away the brush, because the environmental Nazis will not allow them to clear the brush. It is so stupid. They're running that that state backwards. And I do know what I'm talking about because I lived in Los Angeles till 1986. You know, I hear a lot of good things about Tennessee, except I hear that there's an awful lot of animal abuse there. I hear so many things about people that torture cats, and that just makes me absolute sick. And then I hear when they have these serial cat torturers. We know who they are, and they end up in jail, right? Now, I don't understand this. Why things don't happen to these pervs in prison? Why they don't just disappear? I mean, how hard can it be to get somebody to go after somebody that's a serial cat killer and go after them? You know, and I've even gotten in trouble on Facebook by advocating, saying, why don't you go after such and such? I have gotten thrown in Facebook jail so many times for things. I insulted President Biden. I told somebody to eat shit and die. I got in trouble for that. I mentioned something about the squad, and I said somebody should be shot. Got in trouble for that. The last time I got put in Facebook jail, I got there for 28 days. Thank you for doing what's right. Now I got to find out who's been putting poison for cats out here. You've got certain kinds of immigrants, I think, don't like cats. I thought it was dogs they hated. Apparently they don't like cats too, which I don't understand, because supposedly Muhammad didn't want to disturb the sleeping cat, so he actually cut off his robe so as not to disturb a cat. That's the only good thing I ever heard about that person. And if I hurt anybody's feelings, oh well. Oh, yeah. It's just, if people want to eat some animals, but what about the cicadas that are out now? I heard they're real good fried and dipped in chocolate. Yeah. I gotta find this thing. Is this here? I want to show off my X-ray here. Oh, here it is. Just because it's silly, but yeah, this is the best one. And make sure that this doesn't have something like anything that could get me liable for identity theft. This is a real good show of what the jewelry looks like. I think that is pretty badass. But the one thing is, they are doing, the one thing the surgeon did, he sewed me up a little bit crooked. This nail, instead of this being totally, normal, this is a little bit turned this way. So if this nail grows at all, it scratches me bleeding. And, but I need to find some trappers here that will help me trap so that I could spay and neuter cats. And, but they have to be hidden someplace where bad people won't find them, and I can't communicate with most of the neighbors because I only speak English, and I don't speak whatever they speak in Pakistan or Iran. You can't communicate with people that don't speak your language. And since we unfortunately do not force people to learn English before they get here, assuming they're legal, but I have a feeling those people probably are legal, because it's kind of harder to get there, to sneak over there, unless of course they sneak through the southern border. That's the thing, is our borders are so open now. It's like a chain link fence lets in mosquitoes. It's and what Biden is doing, they're climbing over, and then kids are bringing the COVID and MS-13 that is worldwide. Uh, they're all over Los Angeles, MS-13. One time I had to hide my hair under a hat, and I wore all black. to paint over some of their graffiti. They put graffiti right in front of, in a building I was living in, right underneath our front window, and that was unacceptable. I got paint and I painted it over. And that could probably get you a serious beat down. But it's like, that's ugly, and I don't want that on a building I'm living in where I may be posing for pictures against the wall, and that graffiti's ugly, and gang activity is disgusting, and it destroys lives. It distributes addictive and deadly drugs. Uh, if you watch the video about my getting Cassie the cat, you know that she actually belonged to a neighbor of mine who I'd befriended, who was found dead of a drug overdose. And when her body was taken away, the cops or whoever they are, they got animal control and they took the cat away. And if I hadn't been told this happened and I called local shelters and I tracked that cat down, that's where Cassie, the garden cat, came from. So, but these people, they're actively selling these things out here. All right. Thank you for showing up. Yeah, you better eat. I make the mistake of not eating usually until after I post. I go on film, and I'm just so delirious, and I can't even think straight. So have a good meal, and I will see you soon. I'll watch your next video, hopefully. Yeah, I really do need to go and get some cats fixed. So there are some other things that I wanted to talk about. Getting hot. You know, it's 1:45 a.m. Um, oh yeah, so I want to go and get these clothes and things picked up by that cat rescue organization, and I'm thinking once I get that used bus, I'm going to have to park it someplace while I work on it. And the thing is that ideally, I would really like to use a parking lot that's real close by, but they're finally. Belly Button King, hey, how are you doing? Look, I screwed up. I can't screw this ball in this, and it's really irking me. But I don't know what it is. Unless by any chance this is the one that just cannot screw on, because it looks almost like it's closed up some, but all the people at that shindig, that's all over. Oh, there was a car accident in front today. There was somebody, fortunately, it didn't involve multiple cars. There was an old man driving a white car, and he scraped real close to the curb, and he must have done some wheel rim damage. And he had to wait a couple hours for a tow. And he looked really old. He kind of looked like my dad in his last years. Maybe this isn't really a hole, and maybe that's why I can't screw it on. Damn it. Well, I have to deal with it later. It's I would sit on my bed, but it's such a mess. I right now have so much clothes and stuff on my bed. I'm reduced to like a third of it, the outer third of it. I have been trying to move things to different parts of my apartment. My hallway is full of stuff that I want to donate to that rescue, and but then I had to go and organize some things here to redo my set because I wanted it to be different than what I had before my computers went kaput. Now, it's looking like I may still need to get another computer because this really, I don't know what it is with the volume on laptops, unless I need to get a separate amplifier. Now, there's also some extensions on Chrome that can increase your volume, but I have to get them again since I'm setting this up kind of from scratch. I wish that I could find a way to access my Hotmail on this, but for some reason I can't. It won't let me put Hotmail on this computer. It thinks this computer still belongs to my brother. And it's ridiculous that I have to literally buy another machine just to be able to get into that account. Of course, I could always go back to that ghetto library, but now because of COVID, they don't start opening up until Wednesday, and they only give you a half hour. And even though there's very few people in it, because they only let a few people in it, the employees talk, and they talk very loud, and the sound reverberates. And even if they're like 20 feet away, it sounds like they're right next door. And I just get really distracted when people are bullshitting when I'm typing on my computer. And of course, I didn't think to bring earplugs. I oftentimes do. I like to have earplugs even when I walk around the store, because a lot of times stores have really loud music and it can be really annoying. And especially if they're playing current pop music, I really need to avoid current pop music because I've got my own musical ideas and I don't want to accidentally plagiarize somebody's chord progression or somebody's melody. And I don't want certain kinds of influences to seep into the music that I am working on. I'd also like to get an acoustic guitar because that would be a lot easier to play than the electric that I don't have a cable for, and I don't have a mini amp. And I was going to actually bring the guitar on the boardwalk and sing and play and stuff, because Mercantile had not been going out checking people for licenses and stuff, but now unfortunately they are, and they've already given tickets to some people I know who play guitar out there. And now they do have some licenses that you can buy, and they also have licenses for panhandling. But they were doing that in Venice Beach, and they were also ironically fining people for giving money to panhandlers. I think that really sucks, because people should, if they want to, be able to do whatever they want with their money. And even though it's probably safe to assume that most people panhandling are using the money for drugs or alcohol or things, but you can't be sure that they are. Yeah. But meanwhile, yeah, Mercantile is back hassling people. Uh, and so you would probably have to have somebody just spotting to see if Mercantile was there so that you could put your cup away or whatever. And also, part of the reason why they want people to have licenses is so that you can have insurance in case somebody gets hurt who's in your audience. Because I mean, I've seen people, well, I haven't seen personally, I've heard anecdotal evidence that people get pickpocketed while they're in the audience watching somebody bang on his drums or do sleight of hand tricks or something. Or occasionally you'll see some guy get a boombox and play that rap crap, and he'll do popping and locking and stuff. One of the things that makes filming on the boardwalk kind of difficult is so many stores have music and they really blast it loud, and you have to stay away from that so you don't get a copyright strike. I really don't enjoy trying to film in casinos anymore because you have to try to evade security, and I just don't want to cover those kind of subjects on my channel anymore. I just can't get in. Hey, Tiger, good to see you. I just can't get on it, period. Uh, and my brother's on vacation. The person that set up his account is in Florida right now. And the person that set up this computer for him doesn't know that I have this computer. My brother doesn't get back from his vacation for another 2 weeks. And I cannot imagine being able to buy another computer by then, because there is no work to speak of. And my bus fund, I lent to my brother so that he wouldn't get his legs broken by whoever he owed money to. So now I can't buy a computer anyway. So, and nobody has cash work out here except maybe whorehouses and drug dens. And that's not my scene. So, I don't know. But I'm just glad that I'm able to still be doing something here on YouTube. And I really want to just do more things that are from my heart, reflecting of me, and hopefully won't get me kicked off of YouTube. And the thing is that I am going to have to explore other sites that are much more about free speech. I hate the fact that I am being threatened by YouTube that I can't talk about the fact that the election was stolen, or that there are organizations that are really corrupt, and we have no reason to trust the integrity of our election thing. See, the very fact that I'm saying this right now could get me in trouble, and they have a 4-strike system now for that. Fortunately, they don't count the things that you said before. But I tried to join Parlor, and I couldn't even get through. Maybe I should try that again. That would, it's definitely on my to-do list. But and I can't get into my Hotmail because the password reset goes into my Hotmail. So, I mean, excuse me, I can't get into my MySpace because the password reset is sent to my Hotmail account. And there's another library that I suppose I could go to, but it's also in a school. And and those kids always talk too. So I just don't want to deal with it. And anyway, this is a Saturday night. Tomorrow's Sunday when nobody's going to be open anyway. Because yeah, that's the thing, is this thing, it recognizes MSN, but then it has this alias that belongs to my brother. And yet when I tried sending an email to him, it said that the message couldn't be delivered because it was just an unmonitored alias. So, but I would like to find a way to definitely boost the volume on this, though, because I put the volume at 100, and I was trying to play the president's speech on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I had to turn my fan off just to hear it, and that really kind of sucked. But yeah, man, and Thursday, I went out to run some errands, and I brought a friend back who I wanted to give some clothes to and smoke some weed with. And there was some drug dealer that was standing right up against, not up against our door, but right next to it. And fortunately, I let my friend out, but I didn't stick my head out there. I was really glad because this guy was right literally next to the door. And these people have no class at all. And they're like right on you. And if anybody ever says they got tickets for sale, it's not for a band. Tickets is slang for either heroin or fentanyl. But I like to mess with them. Whenever I say I got tickets, then I'll say, oh yeah, what band? Do you have a ticket for Kiss? They're playing, I think, August 31st to Hard Rock. Now, Guns N' Roses is playing. They're playing September 11th and 12th. Why the hell would anybody want to play on September 11th? I think that is just too disrespectful. That really, I mean, there are people that have forgotten. And now that was so long ago, there's people who weren't even alive then, and they just don't get it. Meanwhile, I never got over 9/11. I really haven't. I mean, that was a big line in the sand for me. 9/11 basically caused me to leave the West Coast and come to the East Coast. I never dreamed that I would be here as long as I was. That was never part of the plan. I thought within 6 months I would have found something affordable and I would have been able to go back to Los Angeles. That was my intention. But now, one of my friends told me that he knows of somebody that's in the acting business that lives in downtown Los Angeles that might want a roommate. But first of all, I don't know that I want to be roommates with a man. And this is somebody that I don't know. Um, Plus, I have 2 cats. My cats and me are a package deal. And where I go, they go. And again, I don't want to be living with some man that I don't know. I mean, and if he would want me to be there, how good could that be? I mean, what would his motivation be? I mean, heck, he doesn't even look like a Republican. No. And I can't see myself living with a Democrat, to be perfectly honest with you. Because I would be having Fox News Channel on. I'd be playing Mark Levin on the radio and Sean Hannity and, all the great conservative talkies. That's what and now that I don't have TV, I got talk radio on. I listen to Red Eye Radio at night, where a lot of truckers listen to that. I actually uh, got to watch some good YouTube videos that these are content creators that I never saw before, but I liked the subject matter and everything. And I was watching them for about an hour till the sun came up. I said, look, I got to get to bed. And so I finally got some good sleep last night, because the last couple of nights I only been getting like 2 hours, 3 hours. You know, I finally fall asleep, and I still have my makeup on, and I have to wash my face and stuff. I've been falling asleep at the keyboard a lot. You know. Oh, I met a homeless couple that have a cat, and they're trying to get this cat fixed. And I need to contact Alley Cat Allies to they help. They not only does Alley Cat Allies take care of the cats underneath the boardwalk and things, but they also have spay and neuter resources. And I know there are facilities that do spay and neuter of feral cat colonies, but I believe that something like free spay and neuter should also be available for homeless people. I don't think a whole lot of homeless people have cats, but this couple adopted a cat for $20 from the shelter. And at first, I met the lady who had the cat when I was walking down the street. I was actually on my way to the emergency room, because when you don't have enough and you desperately need medical care and you can't get the diagnostic tests and the checkups most people take for granted. So I finally went to the ER, and I was there for like an hour, and then they gave me referral to another place. And so, and I'm glad that I'm finally getting to work on some of these issues that I've been needing to address. But meanwhile, Thursday, I saw that girl's boyfriend, and again, had the cat. And so this time I gave him my phone number, my email address, and since it wasn't Hotmail, I had to use my Gmail one. And I told him where I lived, and I said that I'm going to work on trying to see about getting your cat fixed. So I guess I'm going to have to at least look up some numbers tomorrow, and I guess I'll make the phone call Monday. I've just been so busy doing things around the house. And today doing the show prep for this. So it looks like I'm not going to get around to doing the skincare and sun protection thing that I wanted to do, um, even though I really do want to take this time to stress the importance of please protecting yourself. The risk of skin cancer is very real. I noticed that they are selling these sleeves now, that so you don't have to wear long sleeves when you're out in the sun. You can actually buy these sleeves that go up to here, so you can wear a t-shirt, put the sleeve on, and it goes all the way to here, and it keeps a lot of the sun off of you. And it's kind of like the rash guards that surfers use. And that is something that you can use in addition to sunblock. And I really recommend that people explore those things. Also, if you are interested in a place that has where you can learn all kinds of information about anything, there's a site called Quora, and I answer a lot of questions on that. Now, I'm not going to try to encourage any of you to get off of YouTube, because we actually are encouraged to try to keep people on the platform. It kind of hurts us a little bit if people go off YouTube when you're done watching our videos. So try to stay on YouTube if you can. The algorithm seems to like that. Oh, I see a Cassie girl. Oh, I see a Cassie girl. Oh, my Cassie. Look at my Cassie. Isn't she pretty? Isn't she pretty? Look, let's see. Show the pretty face. Show pretty face. Let's see Cassie. She can't hear. She can't hear. Let's see Cassie. Show her. Show face. Show pretty face. Show pretty face. Oh, Cassie. Cassie. Cassie's a pretty girl. Oh. Oh, oh, baby, a pretty girl. Pretty girl, oh, my baby. My baby. Isn't she pretty? She's pretty. Oh, there's my baby. My baby. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, anybody want to go swimming? Oh, it is so hot here. Hot, 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 hot. But I miss this guy. I miss my rush. Oh, speaking of, before I go, I want to mention there is a special podcast narrated by Bose Nerdly, who was his call screener. And anyway, it's called The Man Behind the Golden Microphone. And if you haven't checked it out yet, you should. I'm not sure exactly how you find it because I haven't had time to check it out yet. But since I have a computer now, I can. But I believe the first episode was on May 12th. And I think you can probably binge listen to them now because they've been doing it for a while. It's a series. I don't know how many episodes there are. But if you are a fan of Rush, I understand it's not to be missed. So, yeah, that's something I'm looking for. Hey, I see you. My nose is long. Wow. My nose has a deviated septum. I wish I could put that purple ball on this, though. I'm going to have to do something about that. I'm sorry that you're getting on my stream so late. It is now 2:05, and I have a feeling I should really wrap up soon. Because I'm starting to almost run out. You're in the hospital? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I hope they treat you well, and I hope they take care of everything you need taken care of. You know, when I went in the ER last Tuesday, I really thought that I was going to be in there for a while. I did not know that they did not have the facilities that I needed. I really wish they had dental surgeons at our local hospital, like they do at County USC General Hospital in Los Angeles. At least those doctors, when they pull a tooth, they don't leave anything behind. My current dentist, I'm not going to see him anymore because the extractions he did, he left bone fragments in. Now the sheet of paper that I got that gives the information about the procedure and everything did warn that there was a chance of bone fragments coming through and poking me and stuff. And he said that if that happened, that he would refer me to a dental surgeon. Well, the person that he referred me to does not even do pulling things out. And meanwhile, these things are poking through my gums in such a way that when I eat certain kind of things like chips, they poke up against these splinters. That's how they feel, and it hurts. And also, it messes up my smile. Bottom line, I don't want to get into details, but I have not been able to smile since before my birthday, and I'm kind of pissed off about it. But then again, face masks have been really convenient for that. So hopefully, this, yeah. So hopefully, this new healthplex or whatever that I'm going to, they have this thing called case management, which we had a case manager for my father when he had his cancer and everything, and that coordinate the medical team. And since I am going to want to get my vision correction, obviously before I learn to drive, and I'm going to have vision correction. And I really would like to get hooked up with a cardiologist because I think I may have atrial fibrillation. I felt the flutter before, and at least once or twice a month, I feel it. Oftentimes when I'm stoned and I'm eating for some reason. And I think I may have read someplace that when you're stoned on marijuana, you have a slightly increased chance of having a heart attack. I hope the hell that's not true. I mean, I really love weed, and I'm kind of blessed that as much as I may complain about the place where I live, at least our state is fully legal now. And there is a pretty good possibility that I may get to film from a marijuana activity later on this month. We'll see. I'm not sure I'm even going to get in. If I get tickets, that's one thing. If somebody just gives me the money to go, I just may use that toward another computer or something. I don't know. It depends. I mean, ideally, if I could find a gig uh, out here that fits my requirements and my job skills, my skill set is not that of most people here. Um, but and they don't even. I'm having a hard time getting the necessary documentation so that I could get the state ID. That would save a lot of my problems. But they make it really hard to prove residency here because they only accept certain documentations, and they want things like your name on bill statements and things. And the bills that I have are internet stuff or things like my storage, and they don't send me a bill for that. I have storage in Los Angeles, and but that's not considered official mail. So yes, unfortunately. I mean, I really thought a couple of weeks ago, I really thought I was on my way out of here, even though I was acting in haste and I didn't have a specific place to go. I mean, I started packing up things that I knew that I was going to take to the cat rescue, and I just I don't want to get into it right now, but I just wanted to get the hell out of here. But I wasn't thinking clearly because I was just under a lot of stress, and then I kept on thinking that, you know what, I only have one cat carrier and I need to be able to clean it out, and I am not able to really clean it out because it's so big and awkward. And I suppose I could use the kitchen sink to do it, but I need to have two good cat carriers before I move. Um, Even if I had the bus right now, it's still, you have to have them carefully, put in there and stuff. And until and also I would like to give my cats a chance to learn how to walk on harnesses. I have to have it so that they're absolutely as protected and as safe as possible before I leave. And say I do get a driver's license again, and say I have this bus that I want to get, then my intent would be to take a very leisurely, meandering trek around America. I have lots of friends. I definitely want to spend some time in Washington, D.C. if I can avoid people like Antifa and Black Lives Matter and stuff. I want to go spend some time in Charleston. Uh, I want to spend some time in Florida. I want to spend some time in Colorado, several places in Colorado. I want to spend some time in Las Vegas. I want to see the Grand Canyon. I want to spend some time in Tempe, Arizona. I had a lot of good time in Tempe. That's where I met the Deadheads that I went on tour with. Um, I want to spend some time in Texas. But the thing is, Texas, you got to be real careful because I believe marijuana is still a felony there. And that's the thing is, I really wish cannabis would get federally legal because you have to worry about transporting it. If my bus is going to be my home, and yet if I'm driving, anybody that knows anything about weed knows that after you smoke weed in a couple of hours, you don't feel anything anymore. But they don't have an adequate way for testing it to determine impairment. I mean, if you test me right now, I'm going to test positive for it. If I quit smoking weed for 6, 7 months, I'll still test positive for it. If I quit for a couple of years, I still test positive for it because it gets stored in the fat in the body. And I don't have much fat, but the brain is all fat. Okay. So, and I still have a brain. So this would be where the weed would be stored. Because I mean, look at me. I don't really have any fat, which is fine by me. But if they don't have an adequate way to determine you're being intoxicated, and I know I'm not intoxicated, I mean, I would know when I'm safe to drive. And alcohol is nowhere near as dangerous as, I mean, weed is nowhere near dangerous like alcohol is, but still, I imagine for the first few minutes, if it's good weed, you don't want to drive. I've driven under the influence of weed before, but one time, very early in my driving experience, and to before I moved cross country. Now, mind you, I only had 12 days of licensed driving experience when I set out to drive across the country. So that means 2 weeks I was driving around town. And one time I drove Stone, and I only got as far as Pleasantville. And I got nervous and I pulled over. But generally speaking, now I have such a high tolerance that I don't really get that high off it at all, really. But still, last thing I want is to get pulled over, have a cop smell weed, and me get my vehicle impounded. And meanwhile, I have my cats in. And what if they try to take the cats and take them away and have them killed and stuff? And I can't take that chance. I mean, all over a fucking plant. And I don't want to go to jail. You know, I don't want to leave. I don't want to put my cats at risk. And as a matter of fact, I want to not only have carriers for my 2 cats, but I want to have an extra carrier in case I see an abandoned cat on the side of the road or something, which of course, I would take in, and of course take to a vet, make sure how healthy this cat is and get whatever shots, and if it's not spayed or neutered, get that taken care of. But yeah, I really want to do these things, and the life that I want for myself can't be here. The work's not here. The social life's not here. I can't meet people. There's too many Democrats here. I mean, too many gangs. I'm tired of people wanting to give me grief just because they don't like my politics or whatever. Well, my great grandmother, she had a blood clot in her leg and traveled to her lungs, and it smothered her on New Year's Day. That's why I always had to worry about how strong my pill was when I was on the pill. That's why when I was deciding what shot I wanted, I knew that I was not going to take chances with the Johnson & Johnson shot. I felt absolutely fine after my shots. My mother, her arm was a bit sore than she would have liked for her shot. But I had absolutely no problems with my shots at all. As a matter of fact, I felt so good after my shot. I felt almost like they added something in it to make me happy or something. But I'm sure that was psychological because I was just so happy that I did my part, and I felt that I felt very accomplished. And of course, I didn't know that the very next day my computer was going to go on the fritz like it did. And I was just reviewing the footage I'd shot. I'm so glad that I filmed that one straight through thing that I did. That was, of course, the video about my getting the vaccine. But as I was looking at the footage, I wanted to show my mother the things that I'd shot. And all of a sudden, the screen jammed and it went dead, and I got that blue screen of death thing. And I called Best Buy. They made an appointment for me for the next day. And when I took the computer in and all the devices that I had that I could find, I couldn't find the cell phone that somebody gave me, so I couldn't bring that in. But anyway, nothing that I brought with me worked. And so we canceled our Total Tech Support membership, because if you don't have any computers to use for it, why are you spending $22 a month? That's what they charge your credit card. And even that, even though it doesn't sound like a lot of money, when it's really not coming in and you're lucky to be able to have the rent paid, you don't want to know how much all the bills, how much we owe on the other bills. That's, but you know what? It is what it is. So, oh man, it's hot here. But if I open up this window, I'm going to hear hooting and hollering and stuff. I have this really neat little screen that show you. It looks like this, and it's an extender. You put it in your window, and that's how you can have a screen when you don't have a screen. I mean, we had screens that came with these windows, but screens sometimes can get shredded when a cat's claw gets in them. And we had this guy that tried to put our screens back in, and he didn't do a very good job. And yeah. What, here? Yeah. And I don't speak it. All these people come here and they will not learn the language. That really pisses me off. If I moved into another country, I would learn the language. Heck, I don't think I would move into a country that didn't speak English, because I don't think I have a very good head for learning languages. I really respect those that can. I took a year of high school French and didn't remember squat. You pick up a little bit of Spanish when you live in Southern California, and I lived there for quite some time. But the only things that I learned, and they were by accident, were things pertaining to marijuana. And then it's good to learn a few insults so you know when people are dissing you. One of the first bad things I learned was puto and puta. Those are words for prostitute. And maricone, I believe, is an insult uh, about gay men. And but and mota, I believe, is referring to pot. And poquito, I think, is little bit. But I really don't choose to, and I certainly don't go out of my way to pick up on these other languages, because I don't want to make it easier for them to choose to not learn my language. The onus should not be on me, especially if there's a chance that they're doing this illegally. If you want to come here, do it the right way, do it legally. If the illegal immigrants are basically slapping the faces of those that waited their turn, did the proper procedure, paid taxes, did whatever the process is for immigration. I'm really not too familiar with it. That said, I know that there are people that are in dangerous places that do deserve sanctuary here. And matter of fact, there is somebody that I know that lives in a very dangerous part of the world that I wish I could help to get here. That a person who's very deserving, a person who lives in a place where they put people to death for any kind of random reasons. Uh, but this person, if he gets here, he'll probably get here by way of Canada. And I suppose maybe since Joe Biden is in presidency, maybe it'll make it a little bit easy for him, but I'm not sure. But I hope that person does get here, because that would be a really nice. Well, if this person gets here, this is somebody that I would be cool uh, for. This is somebody that I would be willing to do a musical collaboration with, even though I want to do a project where I do everything. Uh, I have been writing poetry for a very long time, and I found a lot of things that are absolutely song lyrics amongst my journals and things, and material that I've been writing since the last time I was in Los Angeles. And I have all these musical ideas and things, and I want to get it all out there and do as much as possible first, and then I will find players to play with. But I want to be in control of everything since it's my stuff. And I don't want certain urban influences. I don't want it to sound at all rappy. I don't want it to sound at all like current pop. I don't want it to sound like anything that's not me. That's why I avoid current music. Yes, of course. And I know I'm not good, but I am proficient at enough things that I can eke out the sounds that I want. I took a couple of years of violin in second and third grade. I'm sure if I acquire a violin and I spend some time with it, I'll be able to get something. I've got that PV Raptor electric guitar. I get the cables for that. I get an acoustic, which would make it a lot easier to play otherwise. Um, and I know this will sound crazy because one of my viewers is a drummer, but something tells me that I would have such a good time with drums. I think it just sounds like that would be so much fun. And I think drumming is like dancing. Now, hear me out. The reason why I say that, obviously, dancing involves your legs and drumming involves your arms, but I feel that there's so much of a kinship between drumming and dancing. And I think that the pressure, though, is more for drumming accuracy than there is for dancing, because as a dancer, you can hide a fucked up move, and most people won't notice it unless, of course, you're trying to do dancing where you're choreographed and you're synchronized with other people. And that's one thing that I don't think I'm good at as far as following choreography. I am, I know I sound like I'm bragging, so maybe I don't want to seem like that. I don't want to seem arrogant, but I was a stage dancer in Los Angeles. I am a dancer. That is my innie. Here, I have an innie, and I got this pierced. I got my navel pierced in 2006 in Los Angeles. I was out there for 4.5 months, and it was a pure joy having done. I wish I had gotten it pierced sooner. Now I took my rings out to put bars in, the 12 gauge tongue bars. I'm getting a mammogram next week, and it's so much easier to just unscrew something. Otherwise, I would have had to bring my scissors with me and take the rings out with the scissors there. And you got to be real careful with the scissors because you don't want to, you don't want to cut. You just want to. Well, you can watch my video if you want to learn the technique for how to take a captive bead ring using scissors. It's a short video. Watch it. It's one of my better performing. Of course, of course. Gender is of no consequence for piercing. And you know what? I'm not uptight about gender roles anyway. Really, so I don't think clothes have genders. When Harry Styles wore that dress for GQ, I thought that was badass. I thought that was wonderful. I love when people play with fashion. I love to wear a suit and a tie. I love when people look androgynous and they rock that. I love it when men wear makeup. I just love people just getting creative and just going for it. If it's clothes, if it's boring or you don't like it, put something else on. It's not like getting a tattoo and being stuck with it. That's, fashion should be fun. And you can get clothes for so inexpensive now. You can really just, you can experiment. I think that's such a fun thing. That's one of the things that I love about being on YouTube also is that I get to play with fashion. Being a YouTube content creator is kind of like being a dancer on stage if you're dancing by yourself, not with a big group. In that you have total control. You pick the music. Well, if you're a stage dancer, you pick the music, you pick the costumes. All the moves are what you want to do. Same thing with being a content creator. I love having the absolute freedom, the creative control, that pretty much I can film about anything I want with some limitations that are the limitations about politics and things that I deeply resent. And the thing is that it's not so much that we're forbidden talking about things, is that we can get strikes, or they could take some things, they can keep us from getting monetization. But the thing is, as far as certain speech that we're not supposed to talk about, like, no, not yet. And the reason why I'm not on Instagram is because they do not allow computer uploads. They only insist on being from cell phones. They seem to realize that maybe some people have landlines that they're very happy with. Now, that said, I was given a cell phone last year. And the thing is, I don't know how to use them. I just, the screens are tiny. They're not the same thing as computers. There was a very nice man that was a volunteer at church that I know, a bunch of nuns that are these absolutely sweet people. They're nicer than I deserve, because I mean, I pretty much told them that, well, I showed them this, and they're probably worried about my soul right now. But I think that whatever gives a person comfort, especially if a person's shitting a brick, they're worried about health issues and things. But anyway, there was a volunteer there that actually showed me some things that I could do on this thing, and showed me how to get on certain sites and things. But Instagram does not seem to allow computer uploads, except there's one extension or add-on or whatever it is to Chrome that I believe does facilitate making posts on Instagram. And if I put that back on this computer, then maybe I can get on Instagram. Oh, look who's here, Cassie. Cassie. Oh, but if I find myself in a position where I am able to put pictures on there, then yes, I would like to be on Instagram, because I always wanted to put some modeling pics and stuff there. I have really nice pictures from my portfolios that I would like to be on there, and you know, and that's the thing, is so many sites are cell phone only, and that discriminates against people based on their tech. And I just think that is so fucked up, that not everybody needs the same kind of equipment. And considering how expensive some of these cell phones are, you got some cell phones that are more than $1,000. That could be more than some people's computers. And granted, I've had computers that are as expensive as over $3,000. Okay, but then I've had a Chromebook, which was only like, it was like 70 some dollars for a refurbished Chromebook, and then another 12 to ship it. And I got that on wish.com, and that actually bought me some time until I could get a better computer. But the only thing is that the Chromebooks don't have any hard drives. They actually use up your Google Photos storage area. And the thing is, they don't tell you this, but Google Photos has a limit of like 15 gigabytes of storage space. And because I was on the Google Plus social network until they took it away, I was up to 85% of my Google Photos storage. So I can't get another Chromebook, or if I do, I can only use it for live streaming. And Chromebooks, because they don't run Windows, there's a lot of things you cannot do on them. You cannot do video editing unless you get this one program that you have to pay for. It's called WeVideo. Their free version only gives you 5 minutes of editing in a month. How the hell, I mean, really, how much, even to do a basic storyboard edit, takes you a whole lot. What you use to chat with people, it depends. There is that thing on Yahoo that I have used. There's that thing on that I used on Google Plus. What is it? Google. What is the thing that's on in Google that you can chat with? I have that, and then they have that thing that's attached to Facebook that I also use to chat with. And I noticed that seems to be a standalone thing also. Because one thing that I did learn to do is I learned how to use this to use that, the Facebook chat in the Facebook thing. But I couldn't get my Hotmail on this either, and I don't know why. It shows Outlook, but then it just spins and loads and loads and loads and loads. And like, I've been so angry with this that I've actually thrown this a couple times. So I do have anger issues, but I threw it against something soft like my mother's bed, you know. So my mother, I think she worries about me. I get angry about things. I mean, I was really ready to leave here a couple of weeks ago. I was absolutely so fed up with so many things that I was willing to leave her behind. And that's pretty bad, because, you know, when you're willing to leave somebody that you love because you can't take all the other drama and things, it's not just this neighborhood and the crazy people and the threatening people and stuff. But, oh, and another thing that pissed me off, we have these next door neighbors that moved in like 3 years ago, and they told the people downstairs that they couldn't keep the trash buckets outside. So the trash that we are supposed to take our trash out into is now locked away in the alleyway. So we were not able to take our trash out. We had no access to trash. And if you throw out your trash in a municipal trash, then you can get a ticket back. Okay. So I finally had to contact our landlord and complain about it. And so the landlord got us to be able to have access to our trash can for a while. But then the idiots next door told the people downstairs to take our trash away. And I finally told the landlord, I says, first of all, what gives neighbors the right to tell people downstairs that we can't throw our trash. And the funny thing is that the neighbors that are complaining about the trash, they have a trash can on their porch. They have an enclosed porch. And we were here before any of these people moved in. My family was here for about 10 years now. The people downstairs were only here for about 7. The people next door were only here for 3 years. So we were here first, and we are the least respected of everybody. I mean, and that is stressful. And there's other things that are stressful. And now I've got some health issues that I have to be concerned with. And when you go through years of not being able to have checkups, then that can be really dangerous. So now I have a bunch of things to address. And so on the 11th, I'm going to get started on that. So hopefully that won't interfere with my schedule and I'll still be able to produce content and things. And hopefully I will be able to find other cool places to do my filming and stuff. I really don't want to do a whole lot of filming here in the city because I don't want to seem like I'm promoting it. I mean, you're not paying me to promote this town, and I can't in good conscience be encouraging people to go places that um, have any dangers to them. Possibly. Hold that thought while I. Um, oh, you know what I wish I could find right now? Well, this isn't a fetish, but I always wear these with my mini skirts. Let's see. I have real police handcuffs that were given to me, by the way, as a tip when I was dancing on stage in Los Angeles. In my storage in California, I have, should I say this, restraints for people to play time me up games and stuff. I don't know that I would say that that's a fetish. That's just a toy. But I don't know. The things, I am into body piercings, but I like them just because I like them. Um, but one of the things I love about my belly ring is that it's easy to switch out and change with different outfits. If I have an outfit that's a certain color and I have a piercing that has jewelry that's that same color, I could switch things out for, fashion's sake. Obviously, something like a chest piercing, because I don't run around topless because it's against the law. I don't have kind of variety in that. I do wish that when the piercer had pierced me, he had used a straight bar instead of the rings, just because if he'd used a straight bar. Of course, I've heard of belly button fetishes. I have a friend who has one. And fetishes are not bad things. I mean, they're perfectly normal, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. I don't have hang-ups about them. The only things that bother me are things that cause people to hurt innocent people. And as long as nobody's hurting any innocent people, I have no reason to judge. Why would I? I wouldn't. I know how I would feel if there were things about myself that people judged, assuming I even made those things public. But nobody needs to feel belittled. Nobody should feel bad about themselves for things. And a lot of times with fetishes, they're not even things people can control. Sometimes fetishes can happen accidentally. And so I am not somebody to be judging on that. Why would I? I really have a live and let live attitude. And as far as the kind of content that I put on my channel, because I have this kind of variety channel and I like to talk about different things, and I know that there are different kinds of people watch my content for different things. Because I tend to always do that turnaround thing, I'm sure that there are people that like my videos because they like to watch my outfits, and I'm sure that there are people that like the fact that I don't wear a whole lot of clothing, and I don't. I don't feel I have to, and especially when it's hot, why would I want to? I'm comfortable in my own skin, so I don't feel that I particularly have to wear a whole lot of covering up because I do have a certain confidence. But I think everybody should have that confidence. I think that no matter what a person looks like, I think people should feel good about themselves. I believe people should be healthy, but I think people should love themselves, and people shouldn't feel that they have to hide away from the world, because even if a person doesn't think that they're the most perfect person in the world, they're probably better than they realize they are. And a lot of times people don't realize that maybe there's no reason why they shouldn't be appreciated by other people. And people just need to have a little bit more confidence. And so I would like to encourage people to, well, thank you. That doesn't bother me. I'm not offended by it. Um, I know that there are voyeurs, and I know there are exhibitionists, and I'm probably a bit of an exhibitionist, but probably every entertainer is. Uh, there is such a joy in performing on stage or on camera, and I've been in front of TV cameras literally since I was 6 years old. This town is a small town, and you need cable to even get anything. We cannot get broadcast over the air signals. We have an educational network that would bring cameras into the public schools. So you, from the time I was in school, they would like film spelling bees and reports and singing recitals and things. And so you can learn from an early age to be comfortable in front of the camera. And even though I didn't like my body until I got to California, because I had a little bit of dysmorphia. And what body dysmorphia is when you think your body is less attractive than it really is. Now, dysmorphia is not to be confused with dysphoria. Now, there is gender dysphoria, and that is something else entirely. That's when a person feels that the gender that they really are is not the body there is. And those are the people that we know as transgender people. That's a totally different thing than dysmorphia, which is when people say a person thinks that they're fatter than they are. And sometimes those kind of things can lead to eating disorders. Now, when I was growing up, I was raised with a person who had weight issues, and sometimes I was called fat ass. So, and I was a bit rounder, I suppose. And so, growing up, I always thought I was a little bit overweight. And so, as a matter of fact, when I first went out to California, I thought I was a little bit heavy. I don't really think I was, because I was 110 when I was in high school, but I was of a bigger size then. And then I discovered drugs when I was in California, drugs that keep you skinny and stuff. And when you're a dancer, you're getting exercise anyway. And there's drugs that keep you skinny because they take away your appetite. The thing is, and I mean like the amphetamines. And of course, I haven't done any of them since 2001. I'm totally clean of all that stuff. But how those things, one of the things that amphetamines do is they eat away at your muscles before they eat away at your fat. So you may be thin, but it's not a healthy thin because you don't have a muscle mass. But the great thing, after I got clean and sober, I discovered fitness. And so I get into weights, but I have baby weights. I don't have the big weights. And I love kickboxing. And they have all these on-demand videos that you could work out and in on the Comcast cable system, but we don't have cable anymore, so I don't have them at my disposal. I used to collect the VHS videos, like the Buns of Steel series and all these workout videos, but they're probably disintegrated now because the tapes degrade after a while, after enough years of exposure to air and sunlight and things. Just like celluloid, we have a lot of our old movies have been destroyed, and that's why they have special climate controlled bunkers underground in LA where they preserve our movies. And that's why they digitize it. But so much of our classic TV shows have been lost. Uh, has anybody ever touched my belly button? Sure. I mean, but yeah. Generally speaking, they tend to have been people who I was dating. I mean, I'm not going to go asking random people walking down the street, hey, do you feel like sticking your finger in my innie? I mean, that just, but now that you brought that up, though, I think I want to mention something about something that often happens on dance floors, at least to me, and I wonder if this happens to other women. I don't wear a whole lot of clothes because I don't feel I need to, and I'm comfortable in my own skin, and I like the way I look, and I don't mind showing it off. But I notice one thing that happens often on dance floors. Say I'm wearing my, here, I'm gonna step back so I can get a better view. Okay, say I'm at a dance floor and I'm wearing a bare midriff and my shoulders are bare, and you get sweaty because you're dancing, right? And people will touch you on your sweaty areas. They'll touch your back, touch your shoulders, touch your waist. That bothers me. That I feel is invasive. I don't know these people. It's always men. They're never the kind of people that I would date. And women are never this rude. It's always men that do this, and they touch you. And it's like, what makes a stranger think it's okay to touch somebody's sweaty waist? That drives me batshit. That is one of the things that will make me not go on a certain dance floor. And unfortunately, around here, the dance floors that are free tend to be the places where the DJs play mostly hip hop music. I do not like rap music. I don't relate to it. It's not of my culture. I mean, is it okay to even say that? I don't relate to it. I prefer rock music. I like country music. I like classical music. Uh, I like Motown. There's certain things that I really don't like. And a matter of fact, I have a video talking about rude behavior on dance floors and describing some of the absolutely obscene things I've seen on dance floors. Uh, I've dealt with having to evade men of a certain demographic. I mean, can I say it? Can I speak freely? I've had to deal with rude black men that want to dance with me. I don't mind. I'll dance with practically anybody, okay? I'm not racist like that. But I will not. There's dancing and there's dancing. I'm not going to be doing slow dances with just anybody. And these guys, and I've never had a white guy do this, they want to turn me around, dance with my ass. That is not right. I'm sorry. Maybe you think that's okay. I'm not rubbing my backside against the front of somebody. That is not right. That is not moral to me anyway. I don't feel comfortable with that. And I think that is absolutely rude. If you want to rub up against somebody, go get yourself a blow up sex doll or something. They think that's okay. If you have a mutual attraction with somebody and you agree to that, that's one thing. Don't go to a random stranger, grab her, say, no, I don't want to dance you that way. Turn her around and rub up against her backside. And I've had that happen several times on dance floors here in this town. I don't think it's cool. And sometimes I realize that the only way to avoid being treated like that is just not to go where that kind of music is and where those kind of people are. If they start playing that kind of music, then I'll go walk over into the casino or go out onto the boardwalk or something. And of course, since COVID, they took all the dance floors away from people and stuff. And when we were under quarantine, I just didn't go out. I was afraid of bringing the virus home to my mother. No place was open anyway. And when you go out, you're all hidden under the mask and everything. You're walking around like this, But I really do miss going out dancing. It really is a big part of my life, and I love the energy of crowds. Some people don't like big crowds. I love big crowds. They're energizing to me. How do I explain it? Crowds are very refreshing. New York City. Oh, I haven't been to New York City since 2011. I love the energy of New York City. Every time I come back from New York City, usually when I go there, if I have a friend to stay with, I stay there for like a whole week. If I'm just going for the day, I'll go for a real long day. The last time I went was 2011. Matter of fact, the last time I went early, paid my respects at the 9/11 site. There's a graveyard right next to it. it's next to this church where George Washington prayed at, and it's right next to the stock exchange, Wall Street, and all that stuff. And then they had the Gay Pride Parade, and I went to see that. I have a good friend who lived in the Chelsea neighborhood there, and that day they had a thunderstorm, and the lightning was coming down. And most New Yorkers were not afraid of the lightning at the time. I figured, well, you have all these tall buildings, they would catch the lightning, and you wouldn't have to deal with it. What ended up happening is I learned that that doesn't protect you. You should always go indoors as soon as there's lightning. And ever since then, I've had a phobia about lightning. And now, if I'm on the boardwalk or somewhere out here, and I see lightning off in the distance, I will run so fast to get home. And I mean, I didn't run. I wasn't a runner when I was in high school or anything. I've never been a runner as far as athletic goes. I've tried running outside, and I end up getting those what they call stitches. I have run in place as far as my personal workout and stuff, but even that is really jarring of your joints because you're smacking your feet really hard. And I remember getting up really early in the morning to do the workout with this. There's this guy I like his videos. He's on JLTV. His name is Gilad. Gilad, what's the hell is his last name? He's this Jewish guy from Israel. Kind of cute. He's got the curly hair. I hope he's still alive. He's just really, I love his personality. He lives in Hawaii right now, and they show the beautiful scenery in wherever it is in Hawaii. But I'm a big fan of his. I used to love Jack LaLanne when I was a kid. I was really impressed with him, and I was just, but it really wasn't until after I got clean and sober that I got really serious with the fitness, because I was so afraid when I got clean and sober that I would possibly gain weight. Because when you go from using drugs to not using drugs, people were afraid of losing, gaining weight, losing their shape and stuff. So I discovered fitness, and I discovered that there is some exercise that's actually fun. And of course, here I walk around everywhere, and if I can go out dancing, I do that. And if I go shopping and I'm carrying heavy groceries, I put them in 2 bags so that I have equal weights and stuff. And I'm not actively lifting like I was, so I probably seem really skinny now. I could do with a little bit more muscle here. I like muscle on my back and stuff, but I don't want to get a real V. I don't want to stretch out on my clothes. That's the thing, is if you're wearing things like this or stretchy things, it doesn't matter. But if you have too much muscular development, you could totally size out of things. And I don't want to have a bigger size. And I know if I did squats that I could grow my ass or something. I don't want to do that. The whole idea of bodybuilding is you build the body you want, or the body you're capable of. And I have built some muscle, but the thing is, when you do that, you have to eat more protein. And lately, because I'm not getting that much physical activity, I don't eat too much. Plus, I've got this cracked tooth that's cracked to the point where it needs to be dealt with. And chewing, it's very easy to shove food up into the crack, and then when I pick it out, I make it bleed, and sometimes it gets infected. And like I said, I can't go to my old dentist because he doesn't do an adequate job, and he leaves splinters in, and and then the whole situation perpetuates. And when I find out that I try to eat corn chips and they're so hard that they cut my gums because they hit up against the bone, had no problems doing it properly in Los Angeles. So, I'm just going to hope that I am going to make headways to getting proper medical care and stuff. And so on the 11th, I get to start that. And, since my insurance covers me no matter where I go, in the event that something happens that I am able to get out of here, I mean, I'm really trying to fly the coop. Trust me, I want to get the hell out of here. Look, it is now, I've been doing this for 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 18, 19, 20 seconds and counting. This is a real long stream here, and I really hate to abandon it when you're here, False Truth. But hopefully you will find me again, because I will always be I will make an effort to make sure to show my navel piercing and switch out the jewelry and stuff. And I will be also doing edited videos and things so that I have some fun content for you. Because it's as fun as it is for you to watch, believe me, it's fun for me to produce. You know, if people didn't like to watch, I wouldn't film. You know, what's the sense of making the best videos in the world are meaningless if people aren't there to watch them? So, and I realize that we all have time, and time is the most valuable thing we have. And if you're going to share your time watching me, you know, I appreciate that because you can watch a whole lot of people. And the fact that you're watching me, I think is cool, and I really appreciate that. So, with that, I am so, so hot. You know what? Here's one other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to unplug this and I'm going to go kitty hunting. So let me see here. I'm going to do this very carefully so that I don't drop this. Oh, no, let me see. Where the kitty is. Tabby boy. Tabby boy. Oh, there's Cassie. Where's Tabby boy? I don't see Tabby boy anywhere. I see my Cassie. I see my Cassie. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Oh, you know what? Where's Cassie? I see my Cassie. I'm now in my kitchen, and I'm gonna get Cassie, my kitty. Oh, my kitty. Oh, my Cassie, the party cat. Okay, I can't find Tabby boy, but I got Cassie here. All right. I think now that we're at the 3 hour mark, I should sign off. But I will be back on Tuesday. So if you like this video and you haven't already, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you like me and my content, please consider subscribing. I make 3 new videos a week for your viewing pleasure. And I can't wait to take you along with me on my adventures. And believe me, I do adventures right. Stay safe out there. If you haven't got your shot yet, please do so. Protect yourself, protect other people. Love a cat, spay and neuter your pets, and I will see you soon on YouTube. Bye.